Mr. Renfield, welcome. I am Dracula. You will make a very good assistant.
No! He's evil. We will protect you.
You have the word of the most trusted institution on earth, the Catholic Church.
Renfield, your sole purpose in life is to serve me. Now, let's eat.
I just want a normal life again. No, 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 no.
God bless you, Mr. Renfield.
Oh, God bless you, nuns.
You're a hero.
Robert Montague Renfield. Let me explain. I work for Dracula.
Count Dracula?
It's the real fucking Dracula.
Some call me the Dark One. Others, the Lord of Death.
So you bring in people to eat?
Well, I do other stuff.
Like what? Wash his cape?
The cape is dry clean only, strictly.
Yeah, I will wear this shit. This fly, yeah.
Look, I don't think he's such a bad guy. But you're never really gonna be free until you face him.
I will no longer tolerate abuse. I deserve happiness.
Let me explain something to you, okay? You deserve only suffering. I will unleash an army of death. Everyone you care about will suffer because you betrayed me.
We have to stop him before sunset.
I am enough. I deserve happiness, and I take full charge of my life tonight.
You know when something crazy happens and someone's like, it's okay, I've seen way worse? Everything I saw you do today is gonna be my way worse.
It's my least favorite part of the job.
The beaches of Central Florida are used to hosting launches. Sometimes at Cape Canaveral, those launches are in the form of rockets, shooting into space and sometimes beyond the solar system. For half a century, though, Daytona Beach has held its own space race, first on the sandy beaches and then around the 2.5-mile, 31-degree banked Daytona International Speedway. Tonight, the kickoff of the 2023 Area Cup Series will contest 100 laps at this historic speedway. While the cars may never leave the soil, the racing will be out of this world. Ironic then, at the world center of racing. 100 laps, 250 miles, enough distance to drive from here to the space station almost exactly. Welcome to Daytona International Speedway, Sim TV, and the Area 500. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined as always by Finney DeCuna, Hunter Sleppy, and on pit lane by Eric Wineland. Guys, welcome aboard. Thrilled to be back for Cup Series action with the Area Series again.
Yeah, honestly, glad to be back. Last season was our first full season here with the Area Cup Series and the Area Racing League in general, and boy, was it fantastic racing all season long. And Kyle, can't wait to do it together again and have some great racing coming up here, Hunter. Absolutely. Cannot wait. It's season 4 already. Feels like the off season is just very brief, but they'll get a few weeks off and then some for the drivers to recoup and kind of get their focus back into get back into the rhythm here. And Eric, I don't know who's going to win tonight's race, but I have a strong feeling it might come from the pit lane. Could be a crucial pit stop towards the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into the details of what these guys are going to look at for race strategy as we go throughout the night. But Hunter, Finney, and Kyle, I'm glad to be back with you guys down here on the pit lane. Once the cars take the grid, I'm going to chill in the booth with you guys because the air conditioning's on up here. So regardless, I echo what you said. We spent so little time in the offseason, it felt like it was too chaotic to keep up. But glad to be back here for season 4. Kyle, thank you for having me back.
Can't wait, guys. It's going to be a fun night of action here at the Daytona International Speedway. It is a warm day here in April for the kickoff of our 2023 season. Cars on track right now, getting some practice in. Finian draft practice was critical before this race because the last couple races we've done the last few weeks, both in the duels and in the preseason shootout, it was a little bit of an unknown what was going to happen there. And last week there was some strategy involved with getting your starting position, but tonight it's 100 laps. Whoever finishes first wins the Area 500, something we'll remind everyone all season long. So it's critical that you pair up with your new teammates and go forward.
Yeah, I got some new teammates, new cars, new drivers, a whole bunch of new things coming on the track, and we have a lot of time with a lot of racing up ahead to go over all the new names, faces, not really new manufacturers, but a lot of teams in new manufacturers. Speaking of which, Jake Nichols in not the 91, the 73 Chevy Camaro. That's going to be hard to say after wrapping a Toyota Camry, taking that thing to victory lane many, many times last season.
And back to the original number that he used to run in the Coca-Cola iRacing series, and Solar Flare Racing has also picked up a new driver, and that being Nate Trito. I believe Dwayne Culberson is still a satellite driver, still has the Solar Flare colors and name on the car, but Nate Trito is a big pickup for that team. Trito really hasn't raced since back in season 1 back in season 1. He was absent in season 3, but in the 8 races that he's been in for Cup racing, this was back in the Gen 6, by the way, so this could be completely different. 3 wins, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 363 laps led. That's in 8 races. Imagine with 17 races under his belt and in the next gen car, what that Trito machine can do.
Yeah, I mean, I got to race against him in season 1, Hunter, as I took part in that season 1 race, and man, he's a menace to try to beat. He's the Jake Nichols of season 1 here in area, but arguably brought in your toughest competition potentially in the season if you're Jake Nichols. But Nate, pit report here for you already. Nate not going to make tonight because he is currently already en route. He may already be there by now in Nashville, going racing in real life tomorrow. So he's got bigger and better things than being able to make the Area 500 tonight. So we'll miss him, but of course they're still picking up Dwayne Culberson to come out here and help the team out.
Just look at David Weishart in the number 33. We didn't think we'd see him back in the Cup Series for 2023, but Finian, here he is in that number 33 red in color Chevrolet on the nose on the badge there, and chasing the number 8 right now here in practice. Good to see David Weishart back as we watch him focused here on draft practice before this 100-lap race.
Yeah, quite a bit of frustration for him at the end of last season, but I mean, hey, at some points it just seems like you never quite get away, even though you say you're going to give up. But he is entered as an open car this season, so I'm not sure if he's planning necessarily running the full calendar, but we definitely, I think we'll see that 33 beautiful red and black 33 Chevy Camaro out on the track. And as you mentioned, saw him on the camera, focus, laser focus, learning, practicing here. These guys got just about 10 minutes of warm-up, and that's it. No qualifying because we already set the grid last week. And these guys are going to be out there on the track for 100 laps.
Here's a familiar face to Sim TV and a familiar voice for those who have watched back in Season 3. Just a few weeks ago, you heard the voice of Connor Horn here, and he's actually part of a new team, 609 Motorsports, to the Area Cup Series, so that'll be fun to watch for us in the booth. Going to have Jeremy Miller and Skylar Shackelford as well on the team, so a new team, new drivers, new faces, and first big race is at Daytona. I cannot imagine what's going through the mind of those drivers right now.
So one of the benefits of new season is Kyle Heyer and Finian Dakuda on the production side of things, giving us some brand new graphics, as you guys will see on the left, and some awesome new insights like the in-sim cameras we'll show off tonight. This is Ricky Springer in the number 51, looking to make a run at it with newly formed team Solid Rock Performance, SRP. Out here in his VR, guys, I don't think I could do what Ricky's doing right here, because I've ridden a VR roller coaster before, and my friends rocked the rocking chair I was in a lot through the roller coaster, and I almost lost my lunch.
Yeah, I've only gotten the chance to try it in iRacing once, and that was back when Finian had his in college, and I liked it. I've never really subscribed to the idea of committing to it, mostly because of the comfort perspective of it, but I think if I tried, I'd really enjoy it. I have to have triple screens for obvious reasons to produce these shows anyway, so you might as well go that route, but Finian VR, it's definitely an emerging technology. It continues to get better and better, and some drivers swear by it, and some drivers can't even make it a couple laps without getting sick.
No, I remember honestly what Eric was saying with it took a while to get used to VR, because you kind of adjust your brain to the fact that you're moving at 200 miles an hour, but not actually physically moving at 200 miles an hour. So, and some people, it's definitely not for everyone, but if you can do it, if you're able to do it, if you're able to afford to do it, it is so immersive. You get so immersed into what you're driving, what's going on the track around you. You feel like you're actually in a car, and you get a look at the apex, look around you, physically move. It's such a unique experience, especially with these hardcore sims like iRacing, Assetto Corsa, and especially now with the latest VR headsets, it looks really, really good.
Dom DeLeo's looking for Ricky Springer, so are we, as we wait for him to jump back in here.
Well, Cameron Hearn is also looking for him as well. That was just him in the 4-car. New team for Cameron Hearn. He's part of Fazikis Motorsports now, and mentioned Dom DeLeo there as well. Boy, he's kind of reshaped that program. Added Michael Kern and Cameron Hearn as well. Still got Greg Mitchell moving up towards Cup side of things. But thing about Dom DeLeo, consistency. And Cameron Hearn also good at consistency. Michael Kern is also good at consistency because he made it to the championship for being in the right place at the right time at Auto Club, and just by being consistent. Had an average finish of 10th a season ago. Looking to continue that with a new team in Fazikis Motorsports.
Yeah, Michael Curran's going to be one interesting one to watch as we watch the number 22 travel down the backstretch here, getting up to speed. Guys, how much do you... I'll turn this one over to Kyle. No, you don't do a ton of oval racing with us here on iRacing, but how much do you think these guys sit here and practice and really dig into figuring out the draft?
Yeah, that was something I wanted to touch on before. Just the way that we saw drivers enter this session. I know that I get a little bit lazy with practicing for plate races sometimes, so I wonder how much practicing these guys really did. I imagine that the top guys, the guys that we're going to see up front all night tonight, those were the guys that were practicing a bunch. I bet you there's a whole lot of drivers that go, it's a plate race. All you do is hammer it, turn left, and avoid the accidents. I think you're going to see some of that be a factor tonight as well, Finney. And I think drivers get really comfortable with the idea that the draft is going to save them all night long, but it doesn't teach you the racecraft that you need to have to do well here at Daytona.
No, it definitely doesn't. And I saw in the duels a lot of guys experimenting with the way the draft works, trying to be a little bit more aggressive because there weren't points on the line. And I think now with this race, obviously we're going to see these guys be a lot more conservative, at least towards the beginning part. I think the second half might be where we see things get a little bit more chaotic when the laps start to wind down. But I've been watching these guys carefully in practice. A lot of guys still doing a little bit of experimenting, seeing where they can poke a hole, where they can make a move, how aggressive they can get, because it's a very, very fine line to balance between being aggressive and then wrecking half the field.
Speaking of aggressive, you just saw the 7 there of James Scioli. It's a new addition to Lucky Duck Motorsports, and Scioli had a pretty solid season ago. Had a win, 8 top 5s, 8 top 10s, average finish at 16th, but 2 poles and almost 300 laps led. It's some very much needed leadership going into Lucky Duck Motorsports with the success that Scioli's had, not only in the Cup level, but in the Pro Series level as well. Going to be big for Douglas Newbigging, Michael Sturgill, and rookie Cedric Hunter for Lucky Duck Motorsports. Excited to see what the 7 can do in Season 4.
And you could argue, I mean, if the NASCAR College Series didn't have run on the same nights as area, that James would have been in more playoff pictures throughout area season 3 as Lucky Duck gets their draft practice in here. So touching on strategy, you guys mentioned it. So this is going to be a 2-stop race for these guys here at Daytona. For the 100 laps that this race is set to be, the most you can go on fuel if you really try to stretch it and save is just over 40 laps. I expect the window realistically to be about 36 to 40, but it'll be all about when these guys decide to make those strategy calls, if they do, because as we know here in the Area Cup Series, Kyle and Finian, we generally don't see a ton of green flag start to finish races.
Race is coming up here in just a couple of minutes, so stay tuned with us here for the Area Cup Series Area 500. Pre-race ceremonies start now.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the presentation of the American National Anthem.
Back live from Daytona International Speedway. Welcome back to the Area 500. Kyle Heyer, Finian DeCuna, Hunter Sleppy, and Eric Wineland bringing you back to Daytona to kick things off here. Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel for only $5 a month. You can watch all Area broadcasts commercial free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You'll earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. Finian, welcome back to Daytona as things are about to get wild.
Yeah, can't wait to see these guys get out there on the track. First points of the season are going to be awarded, but a little bit more in store for these guys as well. As also $100 going to the race winner. So trying to see if they can get out of here at Daytona with a bunch of points and a bunch of cash.
Indeed, we got big cash prizes on the line, not only just for the top 5, but also for those who lead the most laps and is the hardest charger of the race, aka the biggest mover. So $200 prize purse here, $100 going to the winner of the Area 500, $50 to second, $30 to third, $10 for fourth and fifth place. But sponsored by Elwood Designs, we have a couple Daytona challenges up for grabs. Driver who leads the most laps tonight will win a $25 Amazon gift card, and the one who is the biggest mover of the race, aka the hard charger, that would go $25 Amazon gift card would also go to that driver as well. So plenty of opportunities up for grabs for these 40-plus drivers tonight.
Absolutely, Hunter. We'll be bringing you guys all the stories in action throughout the field tonight. We're going to turn it over to Kyle Heyer and Finian DeCuna for tonight's starting lineup.
All right, let's kick things off. For the first time this season, our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Finian, let's kick things off. Row 1, Cosmo Nishiwu in that number 84. Jake Nichols and his Camaro starts on the outside of that front row.
Yeah, moving on behind them in row number 2, Jeremy Miller in the number 30 machine next to him, lined up the 77, and Jacob Bell in 4th place.
Starting in row 3, it's Seth Noel in the number 1, alongside Connor Okresic in the number 14 and 6th.
Luke Knopf's going to line up in 7th place in the 05 next to Med Robertson in the 64 in 8th place.
9th place will be Douglas Newbeging in the number 71. Travis Beckner, last year's Area 500 winner, starts 10th in the 28 car.
Back in row number 6 and 11th, it's the 46 of Nick Silver. Next to him, Jordan Martin in the 11 in 12th place.
Starting in 13th, it's Michael Curran in the number 24. Made it to the very last round of the playoffs last season. Going to try to do that again this season. AJ Roderick starts 15th in the number 56.
Moving on back to 16th is going to be Ben Pierce in the 65 car. Next to him, Greg Mitchell in the 2 car in 17th.
18th place is Garrett Grant in the number 5 in his Toyota Camry. And Bryce Senesac starts 19th in the 09 in his Camaro.
Cameron Hearn's going to be rolling off in 20th in the 4 car. Tyler Nichols in the 41 in 21st.
22nd place is Ricky Springer, the number 51, multi-time race winner from 2022. Connor Horn kicks off his season in 23rd in the 42 car.
Chris Brable's going to line up in the 29 car in 24th. Next to him, David Weisard in the 33 in 25th.
26th place, Dean Thompson in the number 70. Brad Slaughter Jr. starts 27th in the 83.
Dwayne Culberson's going to be rolling off in 28th in the 81 car. Next to him, Delonte Ballard in the 21 in 29th.
30th place, Rafe Slate in the number 8. Chris Seidenfeiden starts 31st in the 45.
And we got Jonathan Cogswell in the 27 car in 32nd. Ryan Hart's in the 3, all the way back in 33rd.
34th place, Brandon Six in the number 66. Dom DeLeo starts 35th in the number 22.
Cedric Hunter in the 07s, line up in 36th place. Next to him, David Elliott in the 57 in 37.
38th place is Michael Sturgill in the number 17. James Scioli starts 39th in the number 7. And Ryan Swan brings up the rear in the number 67 car. All right, Eric Wineland, who you got winning this race?
You know, the easy pick would be Jake Nichols, right? I mean, the man nearly qualified on pole. Cosman and him have shared the front row 2 seasons in a row now. But no, my pick is coming from row number 8. AJ Roderick in the 56 car. That Simrat Market car is so beautiful. I expect this man to get it done on the super speedways. It's anybody's race out here.
Finian DeCuno, who you got winning?
Ooh, who do I got winning? I'm going to pick Jeremy Miller in the number 30 machine. We've seen what he can do in the past. I think he's got what it takes to get winning here.
And Hunter Sleppy, who you got?
So interesting note, the winner, the average starting spot of the winner has come within the first 4 rows. I think it will stay the same. Connor O'Kreswick is my pick to win.
All right, let's see who's got it. I'm going to take the pole sitter, the number 84. Time to go racing from Daytona International Speedway, the world center of racing. 100 laps, 250 miles. 4 miles short of driving all the way to the International Space Station here in Central Florida. Green flag flies, and we're kicking off the Area Cup Series season from Daytona. Lap 1 complete. Yonoshiwu leads the way. Jeremy Miller slots into second place. Across the start-finish line, 99 laps to go, Finian.
Indeed, actually, if you guys are already moving up a ton of spots, Greg Mitchell started in 16th. He's already up 10 places into 6th. So if you guys moving forward, AJ Roderick leading that outside lane, which has actually been kind of slowing down quite a bit. Seems like not a whole lot of guys are willing to go forward.
They're riding in car here with Connor Horn. Was in the middle of 3 wide with AJ Roderick on the outside, quietly working his way inside the top 10 just before they complete lap 2. Still, Yonoshiwu leading, and you see Tyler Nichols there moving up towards the outside.
Live timing and scoring is available. simtvbroadcasting.com/timing if you'd like to follow along at home. Travis Beckner in the number 28, last year's Area 500 winner, is moving forward as well in that number 28. He's on the high side. A little bit of disconnection here early from that upper groove, Finian, but everyone learning how the lines are going to play tonight.
Oh, definitely a lot of learning. And currently Connor Horn on the outside leading a charge. Now they're starting to build a momentum there. Curious to see anyone from the bottom lane jump to the top as they're stalling out big time.
And you'll see the run go on the outside all the way through. And look who it is. It's Connor Horn. He's working his way up. falling back just a little bit, but now leading that outside line. Well, they were thinking about it. It's now the third place car. Nope, now it's everyone. Oh my
Trouble,
goodness,
turn
we
four.
almost had a collision.
We have a collision. Turn 4. James Scioli, Dwayne Culberson, slow. Everybody scatters. We stay green somehow, but an early issue for a whole bunch of cars back here.
Yeah, curious what happened and how it managed to not bring out the caution, because it looked like a pretty big incident.
Yeah, I didn't see exactly who was sideways first, but everyone kind of ground to a halt. Oh, there's the 7.
It was the 21 of Delonte Ballard that was sideways first, or the most sideways at the very least.
Here he is in front of the 45, and there's a big stack up. And that's what caused that. And the 21's got some big-time damage, guys. Some new changes to the damage model also are going to make that a lot less forgiving. Weishart was in it, and there goes the 7.
And what that has done is separate out of the field by a long shot. There's about a 17, 18 car breakaway. This is the main pack near the front. You're going to see in the camera a lot of drivers separate out, kind of strung out either in small packs or pretty much by themselves.
I will say towards the front, it seemed like there was going to be a collision with how aggressive they were blocking. One car was going up to the outside, and then the rest of the leaders wanted to. But it happened in the back, and very surprising it didn't bring out a car.
Well, I'm a little bit thankful the field got split up a little bit. It is a slideshow here, iRacing, with this new car. My goodness, it is hard on the system to run. Here's Luke Knupp in the 0-5 up on the outside lane. And
whoa! Almost got turned a little bit by Jeremy Miller, pumping him in the wrong place, wrong time. As,
there it is! Oh, no! In the fence on the front straightaway. Big impact for the 0-5. There's a caution flag. And grinding along the Armco, they will come to a halt. The 30 of Jeremy Miller and the 0-5 of Luke Knupp bring out our first caution of the day.
And just like that, two very strong cars looking like they might be out early on.
Better look at it from the Simrap Market replay. The 30 goes to the outside, gets squeezed there. I think he was trying to sucker hold the 0-5, but the communication evidently didn't happen the way that they were anticipating, and they just ended up in the fence. There's the 0-5 kind of all over the place here, getting shoved from the 30, and then I think Jeremy is going to go to the outside here, anticipating putting the 0-5 in the middle, and Luke thought that wasn't going to work, but they come together right here. And the 71 also, or 73 rather, got a little bit of a piece of that.
I think a small tap. It looks like he was able to mow it down enough. He's got some damage to the right front of the car, but it looks like it should be repairable.
On board now with the 73 of Jake Nichols, last year's champion. And everyone takes a breath.
No kidding.
So this will bring the field back together after that earlier incident. But I think we learned a couple things. The drivers are aggressive. They're willing to go for it right now. Eric Wineland's on pit lane with an update. What you got, Eric?
Hey guys, so yeah, plenty of radio for you to listen into. First, here's the incident that brought the yellow out between 609 Motorsports, Connor Horn, and Jeremy Miller. Not happy with Luke Knupp and what he did.
Well, we're trying to get by because he couldn't hold a line, and you're running the middle. You're not supposed to run the middle.
He's just horrible. I mean, he's always sucked.
So first talking there was Connor Horn, as you guys will get used to the voice throughout the season, and Jeremy Miller chiming in as well. But that wasn't everything there, because Jeremy was not happy, or Cosmin Yonishiwu, our leader, was not happy with Jeremy Miller. Here's his clip from lap number 3 of the race, Jai.
Like, he's shoving me in the right rear and then just backs up off a football stadium.
So as these guys are down here on pit lane in front of me, I'll give you guys this quick report here. 4 tires and fuel for some. Some are just fuel only, like Travis Beckner in the 28 and the 5 of Garrett Grant. The top 8 have stayed on the racetrack. And Brandon Six missed his pit stall. He just rolled straight through. He couldn't find it. Weishart also a touch and go on fuel. Same with Dwayne Culberson in the 81. Everyone else beyond, I'd say, 20th place, guys. 4 tires and fuel instead. Except for damage repair here for the 30 car in front of me. He's got massive right front damage. on this number 30.
We saw a touch and go with the 33 on the 70 as well.
Darn it. You
Spun
beat me
around.
to it. I was just going to say that too.
Spun around the
Words
70.
right out of my mouth.
Look at us all go. Great minds think alike, guys. Yeah.
Now, I didn't quite catch that one in front of me.
Oh, we did. Let's watch it
but-
again. Here we go. He was coming into pit lane right ahead of the 22, and he slows up. There's the 33 in behind him. And I think he's going to slow kind of in this second lane. But look at the 33 creeping over to the left, and right there, bam, turns him around. I think he was looking for a stall and couldn't find it.
Yeah. That's always the difficult thing with this, where you're trying to find where your stall is, because you have an idea of where it is based on your starting position, but it's always quite hard to actually figure out because you don't really know until you have your first pit stop.
Well, there's the other thing there. These guys got their starting positions a week ago in the dual races, so they're not used to it and not necessarily knowing properly. I mean, that's the case of not doing your homework before the race, but yeah, unfortunate there for those two. But I got one more piece of radio for you guys. This is the incident that did not bring the yellow out. This was Solar Flare Racing Delonte Ballard talking about what happened.
This is a huge checkup in the bottom lane, and yeah.
So he did have some other words in there. They were explicitive words that I did not want to utilize on the broadcast for you guys. Not happy in that 21 camp, especially since it put not only him behind, but a couple of his teammates as well. But the yellow came out, stacked them all back up. Kyle and Finian, going to be a long night if they keep this pace up.
Well, lap 9 of 100. We are on right now. The field is getting re-racked and restacked to go again. And an interesting first 9 laps, certainly a dramatic first 9 laps. I bet you the next 92 are going to be of similar excitement level. Your front row for the restart is the 84 Cosmin Yoneshiwu and the 1 of Seth Noel. He'll be in the Celsius Camry on the outside. Nick Silver in row number 2 in the 46 car. He started 11th. And Greg Mitchell, the number 2, started 16th up to 4th on that opening run, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of crazy. We're not even 10 laps into the season. Guys are already at each other's necks. So I guess we might have an interesting season in store over the next couple of months.
I mean, tensions are high, too. I mean, we got prizes on the line. We got $100 going to the winner. The top 5 are getting paid out. If you lead the most laps, you get a gift card, $25. Same thing with biggest mover of the race, which we'll have to keep an eye on throughout the event. But the base car is rolling in. About to go back green. Try this again. See if we get a long green flag running.
Green flag back in the air for the Area 500. Back underway from Daytona International Speedway. A good launch by Yoneshiwu and Seth Noel. Everyone else fans out behind. There's Connor Horn on the outside. That green, yellow, and white Chevrolet Camaro. Here's Bryce Senesac on the inside now, pushing the 46. Tyler Nichols in that 41, glinting in the Daytona sunlight. Nice electric blue on the 41 this year.
Yeah, a lot of fantastic paint schemes all around by these guys. Did a great job in the offseason. A lot of beautiful colors on the grid and some beautiful colors trying to move to the front. The 46 and the 09 going up to the top side. Nick Silver trying to see if he can lead a lap here.
Guess you could call him the silver bullet because he just shot up to that lead like there's no tomorrow. But Yoneshiwu getting help from Seth Noel down on the bottom. Going to be close here this time by. They come across 10 laps complete. Give it to Silver at the line.
Tight stuff here. The complete lap number 10. Jonathan Cogswell in the 27, best known last season for missing all the wrecks. That's a great trait, great strategy to have coming into Daytona. We'll see how he does. Gives the 42 a shot there mid-corner. The 64 of Ed Robertson. It is tightly packed on the back straightaway as they rocket down at 195 miles an hour.
Yeah, they're also very tucked together, nose to tail, especially in the top lane. I noticed a lot of guys pushing close to each other. And the one big thing I wanted to talk about too, when we saw that saw the way he brought up the first caution, is the runs that these guys get are immense. And not only that, the stack ups are huge, which is what we saw cause that first wreck.
Shuffling around through the field, we see Chris Seiden finding there on the 45. Going to ride on board with him, running right around the middle of that pack there in the 16th spot. Tough situation to be in. If, say, there's an incident that happens in front of you, you got no time to react, and you're kind of in a pickle here. At least that's in the turn. On the straightaway, it's a different story.
Yeah, you see everyone stacking up here on the outside, down the backstretch. The 81 of Culberson, the 8 as well, Rafe Slate. The 11 of Jordan Martin, easy to spot that car with the yellow roof. But it's interesting, the pack is kind of clumping and then dissipating at points, Finian. It's getting very tight at some moments and then stringing out elsewhere. I'm going to guess that the drivers are not completely comfortable yet with how this car is drafting. They've done this before. This isn't new to them. But what is new is the damage. The update to the damage model certainly makes things a lot scarier. If you are about to get into an accident, the only thing you can really do is do the best to stay out of it. In the past, you could get the car repaired pretty well, but the damage threshold is so much lower now.
Yeah, no, and that's why Jeremy Miller is still sitting dead last in pit roads, still getting damage fixed for 7 minutes. I think with the old damage model, might have been able to get the car back out there and racing around, but a lot of other drivers still dealing with some damage as well, notably Delonte Ballard. You just see right there, you can still see, it looks like someone took a sledgehammer several times to the nose of that car, and that car is just a draggy mess. Hard to keep up with the other guys.
Well, as the field works their way through the trial once more, you got to give a shout out to Miller Racing. 3 of their 4 cars are inside the top 4. You got Yonishiwu and Noel in the 1-2 spot, and then 4th is the defending, well, he just fell back a little bit. There's that first car on the outside line. Travis Spector, the defending Area 500 winner from a season ago, and head down to the pits with an update from Eric Weiland.
Hey guys, just a little insight into what team communication sounds like here in the Area 500. This is Physicus Motorsports, specifically Cameron Hearn, Dom DeLeo.
I think on the restarts, the bottom line's where you want to be, though.
Yeah, 1000%, unless the guys up top really know.
You're about to check up bad.
Yep. You got room behind you?
Yeah, I got plenty of room.
So the 4 and the 22 taking it nice and easy around the racetrack as the pack flies by me here on the front straightaway. And then a note here for you from Bowie Esports. Chris Rabel, driver in the Area Racing League, not driving here in the Area Cup Series, but spotting. This is some spotting chatter you'll hear throughout the night.
One thing I'm noticing, guys, if you have to lift off the throttle in the corner, it'll get tight. So just beware.
Is it pushing up?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Good to know.
So although he's not on the racetrack with his Bowie Esports teammates, Chris Rabel helping out Brandon Bowie, Brandon Six, and Nick Silver from atop the spotter stand. Some good insight there from the driver spotter.
Appreciate it, Eric. You're on board again with David Weishart in that 33. Kind of loosely involved in that first incident, but it seems like everything's going well now. In 23rd place, and you can see how much the runs build and then dissipate, and see how awkward it gets there. You see the 66 of Brandon Six pop out of line, and it just gets awkward. What do? Do you go to the outside? Do you have to wait on it? Every moment you're recalculating those decisions, and you have to get through another hour of this. Not wearing you out physically, Finian, but certainly mentally.
Oh, absolutely. That's really the big thing here. This is not a physically hard track to drive. Just a little bit of turning to the left here and there, full throttle on the gas. For the most part, you have to lift up a little bit to make sure you don't pile drive the guy in front. Whoa, stop mentally taxing 3 wide near the front. Connor Kresick shooting the gap, trying to get past Travis Beckner. He does. Bryce Senizak trying to do the same now. He's 3 wide.
Getting a little dicey there. Mentioned Kresick. Still struggling on that outside line.
It's getting very spicy. The 5 of Garrett Grant, the 45 of Seiden. Fiden splits him 3 wide. The 22 of DeLeo on the bottom. Look at the 29 of Rabel go to bottom 3 wide. There were 3 wide everywhere. Big stack up there as the 22 has to lift to avoid shooting Jonathan Cogswell up the banking into turn 3. And the size of the runs here is the most dangerous thing, Finian. It's not that they're getting them. It's that they're getting 10, 12, 15 mile an hour advantages over the next car ahead of them.
Yeah, it's an absolutely huge advantage, and then that's where you see a lot of guys having to check up. You can see right there on the bottom lane, everyone having to stack up, and that's when it gets dangerous. That's where you're going to see a lot of the wrecks happen, but looks like we made through that skirmish okay in one piece. Connor Kresick now stuck leading the outside lane, and everyone that was involved in that fight going 3 wide, they lost a huge amount of time to the leaders.
Yeah, it seems to be a single file formation for the most part down on that bottom line. You got to go back to, I believe, Connor Horn. Is that him leading outside?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, Horn in the 42 leading that outside line for 609 Motorsports, a new team to the Area Cup Series, and going to be exciting to watch them tackle the Season 4 slate all season long. And here's the in-car of Connor Horn. Did not know he was from New Jersey. Shout out. He's maybe 2 minutes away from me, at least the river. Delaware River. Then I could go into Jersey, but
in the Charlotte area now, but Hails from New Jersey.
By the way, represent, because he's got Jersey on the hood there. Leading the outside lane, trying to get it going with Okresic pushing.
Yeah, big shove there from Okresic. Look at the run that's going to get up to 6th, then to 5th, then maybe to 4th if he can pull up alongside Nick Silver in that 46 car. And once this race gets going green, you can see how fast the laps tick away, Finian. Almost a fifth of the way complete already with 1 yellow under our belt so far.
Yeah, it's going to tick by a lot quicker now with these guys going green here. We'll see how long they remain doing so. I think that first caution is going to definitely set the tone. These guys are going to dial it back just a little bit for now. Get through the slog. They still got 80 laps to go before we're near the finish. So a lot of laps ahead, a long road ahead for a lot of these drivers. It's a matter of keeping the car clean, not getting yourself wrecked out too early. I'm getting curious though with seeing this outside lane making up a charge. We've been seeing them pretty much get up to maybe the 3rd or 4th car and then they stall out easily. Hunter, what do you think? What do you think these guys are going to try to do on that outside lane? What can you do?
Well, you see Weishart making the 3 wide, but I'd say the one thing is stay grouped up, because now they just singled out Travis Beckner, but you're going to want to stay grouped up. If you keep moving around, rotating like we see now, you're not really going to go anywhere. And it's about the straightaways. They're not going to gain too much through the turns, but like you saw down the back straightaway, they get those massive runs that the inside line cannot get. As we have another update on pit road from Eric Wyland.
Hey guys, some radio from Weishart Racing, specifically Brad Slaughter, David Weishart. This is a few laps ago when you guys made note that everybody was 3 wide.
I'm gonna shoot that middle. Oh, I got a huge run. Yeah, just take it. That's a rock. How long before people start yelling at me, you think?
Everybody's
doing it now. All right, let's go. I think everybody got sick of it at the exact same time.
Connor got sick of Travis not being able to lead all that well.
So as the pack roars by me here on the front straightaway, these guys trying to get settled into where they want to run this fuel stint out. We got a while before we even think about pit stops. Probably about another 20 laps for the top 8 that did stay out. Another, I'd say, 25 for those that did come down and grab service.
Wow, that was dicey.
Sorry, Eric.
That was very dicey out of turn 2. Weishart took Connor Horn 3 wide, and everybody followed him. Bye-bye, Connor Horn. He's dropping to the back.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. These guys are trying to stick on the outside lane, stay a little bit away from the guys on the inside to avoid getting side drafted. That'll open up the door for Weishart to stick his nose and get that spot. Now Horn is 3 wide, Travis Beckner, and the 4 of Cameron Kern, who's inside.
And now leading that outside line is the 33 of David Weishart. And an interesting note here on Weishart. Yes, he did say he was going to retire from Cup competition, but he's only coming back for a couple of races, those being the Knights Race Area 500 and potentially the Southern 500, unless, oh my goodness, that was Slaughter there in the back and really got into the wall. They are really pushing on the outside line. Unless he wins the Knights Race, then he could contemplate running a full season, kind of like Brad Slaughter back in season 2. He's only going to run the Area 500, won it, decided, why not, and then went for a playoff push. So maybe we can see the same tonight out of the 33 of Weishart.
They almost junked it down the back straightaway there. That was very close, but they made it out the other side. David Weishart, remember, he started 24th in this field. He's up to P6 right now and getting a push from last year's champion, 73 of Jake Nichols. If you want to win the championship this season or any other, you have to beat Solar Flare Racing's Jake Nichols. That's just a fact of life, Finian. And so far, we haven't seen as much strength out of the 73 that I think we thought we'd see, but he is always there when it counts, even if it's not Daytona this week, next week and beyond. That 73 car is always a safe pick.
Oh yeah, it always is. Even on the plate tracks where they're the grand equalizer, it's usually that 73 somewhere near the front or waiting wing. So I think as long as nothing happens to him, doesn't get involved in a wreck, we expect the 73 to be, like you said, up there where it counts. Driver coming down pit lane hot. Luke Knupp in his machine. Damage 2 laps down now as he just got passed by the field. He's trying to make some repairs, get the car in working order. Let's come back to the field, coming through turns 1 and 2.
We're starting to see a little more 3 wide now. That is the 24 car, making it down low. Michael Kern.
Yeah, he's a lap down.
Yeah, he's going to get picked up by a teammate there, Greg Mitchell in the 2. And that's Cameron Hearn right behind him as well. Then looking a little further back, there we go back up towards Greg Mitchell in the 2. So we got a little Fazekas train there towards the back, or Fazekas group, I should say. Meanwhile, 25 laps complete. Cosman Yonoshiwa going to lead this time by, still leading with teammate Seth Knoll running in second, and Cosman led almost every lap.
Yeah, 24 of the 25 that we've completed. But he really has been the dominant force thus far in this race. Seth Knoll right behind in that number 1 Celsius Camry, though he's been in the mix really since the restart on lap number 9. Let's not count him out just yet. There's a big push there on the back straightaway, but it's pretty frantic right now. Lots of moving and pushing and shoving around. I think once we get to that first pit stop, we might see less of that, Finian, but still lots of jockeying to really establish where you're comfortable running. I don't think anyone's really there yet.
No one really is quite there yet. Still, like you mentioned, a lot of jockey position. No one can really determine the order they want to run in, especially in behind on that outside line. It seems like there's a new car up there every single lap. Look at David Weiser now working through some lap traffic. I believe that's Jeremy Miller on the outside of Bryce Senizak. Or, sorry, Dante Ballard on the inside, having to do a little bit of a snake maneuver. It looks like everyone's moving through the rolling chicane on the track now.
Yeah, in the middle of the turns too, not a good recipe here, as we're going to snake our way back to pit lane with an update from Eric Weiland.
Helps if you turn the mic on, gentlemen. So, update for you guys from pit lane as we watch the snake around the lap cars. That was a dicey moment right there. Need to be decisive, more decisive, that is. Here's Douglas Newbigging update for the fans of him out there. He had some issues.
My computer, my iRacing crashed. That's why I'm 3 laps down. It's not a skill issue, I promise.
So unfortunate luck there for the 71. And then here's some communication for Solid Rock Performance, guys. This is the most chaotic team chat I've heard all night. Only lap 25. They were not happy campers with how much they were having to work.
Rafe is coming up to your back bumper, Connor. I'm trying to get down in front of Dom.
Okay, this is me.
I don't know.
I'm trying to give you a push. You're clear of him if you want down, but
Get down.
he's letting me down. Ben, are you in?
Yeah, I'm in. A couple cars behind you. I'm behind Grant.
Up there.
Yeah.
It's a lap car. Lap is slow car on the bottom.
So that is the second pack. That is 2 seconds back. That was Solid Rock Performance. That's Ben Pierce, Connor O'Kresick, Dylan Lee, Rafe Slate, Ricky Springer, Ryan Hartz in that team channel, all talking strategy, trying to get themselves together. Pit stop's still a little way out for them. Still about, I'd say, 15 to 20 laps. But they were trying to get lined up. They didn't like how dicey it was up front. Ricky Springer especially said so after I stopped recording there. As you guys take a look at David Weishart and company moving their way forward.
Yeah, watch this. Out of turn number 2, watch the 33. Gets hit from behind and has a big moment right in front of the 66 car. Finian almost wiped out. That would have been day over for the 33, but he kept it under control somehow.
Yeah, it's not too many times that you see a car get loose at Daytona, but with the way these guys are, hitting each other, and especially in the middle of the corners, if you hit someone in the right place at the right time, it can easily send someone loose and wrecking loose. But Weiser there, great car control, able to keep the thing straight and collected, and he's going to continue on in 12th place.
Yeah, the 66 of Brandon 6 might have just made the list for David Weishart there, and we're over a quarter of the way through, so definitely something to keep an eye on, as you did see that there's separation between the top 16 and 17th, which is being led by Bryce Senizak. That second pack in the back there, you see coming through turn 3 right now, and it's a big choo-choo train on the bottom. Probably the safest place to be, because like you just saw, they're still bumping and grinding up front.
Yeah, happy that there's a little bit of separation, as you can tell. Whatever it is with this next-gen car here in iRacing, it is actually impossible to get good performance with a full field of cars. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons why we heard a couple people have performance issues or have the game crash, Finian. It's just so stressful on systems to run this particular car for whatever reason. And with that, it gets hard to get a full field of cars in one shot without looking like a slideshow. But Yonoshiwa continues to lead. He's got everybody in the mirror, and got the mirror turned off. Can't see anybody. That's good news for the 84.
I'm sure he'd love to do that, not have to worry about 40 other guys or 39 other guys in behind him trying to take this win away from him, but he's still got to worry about that. The guys in the back there, you can see they're trying to get a little bit organized. That second pack, catch the leaders. And the reason they got separated was the lap cars that they were coming through when they're catching Jeremy Miller and Michael Curran, I believe, and put those two a lap down. So they're trying to catch back up. They've gotten themselves back organized and slowly working their way up to the front.
Yeah, some navigate around the moving chicane better than others. That's why we have the separation, although it is much
Whoa,
needed.
look out.
Oh,
DeLeo just got blocked big time on the back straightaway by Chris Rabel and almost put both of them in the wall.
Thought we were done with the moving chicane, but I guess not.
Watch this. I don't actually know. Yeah, right there. Ooh. Quick thinking on everyone's part on the Sim Market replay to get that all woed up, but that certainly killed some of their momentum and got him disorganized. One car in the grass, and that's going to be a big mess if he can't save it. He does. Ben Pearson, the 65. What a save.
Great execution of car control right there. Here's how he got there. Was he going to get turned? Oh, yeah, had some help. Jeremy off in the nose of Jerry Miller after a checkup. Went through the grass, and then that joining back onto the trial was really tricky to manage because it just throws the car out of whack.
Great job there.
It's almost shades of Brad Keselowski from the Daytona shootout there about 10 years or so back. That makes me feel old saying that because he was in the number 2 car, the Miller Lite racing car back in 2014. It was almost reminiscent of that, but he kept it straight, and we're still green flag racing here from the World Center for Racing Daytona.
Just one yellow flag so far. That happened on lap number 7, and since then we've been all clean and green. Working lap 34, pit stops on people's minds now, and this is when you have to start finding your teammates, and here's one group that has done that. Jake Nichols and Tyler Nichols in the Solar Flare Racing Chevrolets paired up on the outside. You have to have a friend. It doesn't have to be a teammate, Finney. It can be anybody that you want to work with, but you have to have the same strategy and be willing to work together to get this green flag pit stop done effectively.
Yeah, that's the thing, too, you have to talk about as well. Is there's quite a few guys that didn't come into pit at all in this race so far. Quite a few, in fact, majority of the field, other than maybe about, let's say, 8 or 9 drivers, came down to pit lane after that first and only caution we had around lap 7 or 8. So some guys are about 7 to 8 laps better on fuel compared to most of the rest of the field. So we're going to see pretty much 2 distinct groups of drivers come on down. Connor just have both of his hands in behind his head, or one of his hands behind his head? He's that relaxed.
You'd have to be a menace if you have 2 hands off the steering wheel in the middle of the turn at Daytona. But yeah, pitting is going to be interesting if it's done under green flag conditions, because yellow could come out at any time, but we don't get that. These guys do have to make green flag pit stops.
Oh, Breck.
Speak of the devil, there it is. Yellow's out. Forget everything I was going to say.
Travis Beckner involved.
Oh, last year's Area 500 winner, and he's got, looks like a little bit of damage to the left rear. Let's see if we can find what happened here on the Simrat Market replay. And just gets turned off the nose. Ooh, that was a big hit.
Right,
29 of
Chris
Rabel
Rabel too.
Yep. Who was that car in behind him? That was the 4, Cameron Hearn. And again, the same thing we saw earlier. A checkup, and then right there, it's turned around, and pow, gets kind of pile driven into the outside wall. Oh, there you see the car get on the apron there, and that's what checks everyone up, Finian.
Yep, and then just a small turn from the 4, round he goes. 29 comes into him. That's going to be some decent damage to the left front wheel, and then second pack narrowly, third pack in behind, narrowly avoiding that.
Ooh, and then the other car that speared off on the bottom there, that was the 51 of Ricky Springer. He went for a bit of a ride, but second caution of the day, lap 36. Perfect timing for everyone to come to pit lane.
Yeah, everyone's going to be coming on down now. You'll be a fool to stay out. As I say that, I think just saw someone stay out. I think they'll lead a lap.
That is...
Didn't actually catch who that was.
They might have been a lap.
Oh, yeah, might have been a lap car too.
These drivers coming across the line now are the ones that stayed down, I'm pretty sure. Well, if we can get a little update on that, we'll have to wait for that. Meanwhile, Eric Weiland busy down on pit road.
Yeah, everybody, 4 tires and fuel here. This puts them in a window for 1 stop the rest of the way home. If they make these tires and fuel last, they'll split this one about 30 laps each stint. That was about 36 for the guys that stayed out from the opening of the race, obviously. About 30 right there for the guys that did pit under the first caution. And also can confirm for you guys, that was lappers that stayed out everybody down pit road to me this time by.
Thanks, Eric. As field rolls back up onto the back straightaway, and it's lined up behind the pace car for a restart here, working probably around lap 39 to 40 when we'll get that restart. So far, it has been an exciting race, to say the least. Been a fun one so far. Fans, be sure to visit simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. And race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. That Daytona International Speedway for the Area 500. Kyle Heyer, Finian DeCuna, Hunter Schleppy, and Eric Wineland bring into the action. 37 laps complete, and it's all been Cosmin Yoneshiwu out front, Finian in that 84 so far.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job being out there. We were talking about some prizes getting thrown to the driver's way. $100 for winning, but also a $25 Amazon gift card to most laps led, of which Cosmin's probably the best driver out there and arguably almost pretty much a shoo-in for that prize at the moment, leading almost all of the 38, if not all of the 38 laps we've had so far. No one's been able to touch the 84 up in front and challenge his lead. I'm curious to see now that we got to restart everyone bundled back up together again. Can we see someone challenge the throne?
I would assume so. Now that everyone's bunched back up, we'll might see the outside line start to get a good launch here. And there is the Sunoco machine of Yoneshiwu. And Eric Wineland joins us back on pit road with another update after that cycle of pit stops.
Yeah, a couple things for you guys. Here's some radio from Solar Flare Racing, specifically Delonte Ballard. Very upset with the second pack that caused nearly 2 cautions, but they did cause the one that we just had.
I don't know
That's
what.
working so far. I'm just gonna keep tandem, or not tandem.
Oh, they're wrecking. Somebody saved it behind me.
Not only was that the first one, but here's how he reacted to the caution coming out with that second pack.
Dude, this second pack, they're idiots. I don't know if somebody was holding up the line and they kept I don't know.
So Delonte not happy there with some of the guys out there, especially since he was involved in an early race incident. Also, to follow up on what you guys were talking about, still have one more pit stop. I think these guys are going to be a little more tame, but try to get themselves in position to pit with their teams. But man, nobody's beating that number 84 out front, Cosmin Yoneshiwu. Keep an eye on my pick, though, guys. AJ Roderick, he's up to 7th.
Well, let's see if he can get all the way up there. Pace car pulls off, lap 39, back underway from Daytona in the Area 500. And here they go. Ed Robertson slots into second place. Jake Nichols, Tyler Nichols, third and fourth. AJ Roderick up to fifth on the bottom lane now. And on the outside, that's Brad Slaughter Jr. in the 83, leading over Nick Silver, who drops to the bottom and fills the gap on the inside, Finian.
Yeah, he dropped to the bottom real quick there. Oh, and actually Brad Slaughter going to get forced 3 wide. Connor Horn sneaking his way on through. The 07 of Cedric Hunter is also going to slip his way on through, and you saw Brad Slaughter there get bullied out of position. You cannot leave a gap. Someone's going to take advantage of it.
Well, unfortunately, he cycled back in a position on the outside or whatever there was left of. We're 3 wide in the second pack. That's kind of a dangerous move. I mean, that's where the second caution happened from, that wreck in the back. And early in the race, we had one earlier on that did not bring out a yellow, so keep an eye on that because it could go haywire. But back up front, it's still Yoneshiwu leading. Outside line starting to get somewhat reformed. Connor Horn once again at the charge from that position. Might have some guys on the bottom here jump up to that top.
Connor Horn trying to carry some momentum to the outside lane right now. And you never know that he's in this position. He looks so calm behind the wheel. Just even reaching up to adjust the headset right now as he heads down the back straightaway. Look at the run he's got, though, challenging the 84 for the lead. No one has really been able to go up there and just take it away from the 84 just yet.
Yeah, for Connor Horn, it's just another day in the office for him. Nothing to worry about, nothing to lose as he's riding on the top lane here. I think he feels like he's got everything under control. He's been very adamant about being up there in that top lane. He hasn't had quite the momentum he's needed, though, to try to get himself up near the front to take the lead, although now he's got probably the strongest run we've seen him have all race long here.
Still trying to get alongside the leader, can get alongside Robertson and Jake Nichols there on the bottom, but watch this run that the top's going to get down the backstretch. They get such a strong run. He might be side by side with the leader here if all else goes to plan. Not as big a run this time by, but most other times on the backstretch, the outside line just takes off like a rocket.
Through 3 and 4, outside lane trying to build momentum, but the bottom still has the strongest run for now. Good cars lined up. It's just hard to get a run to go past them. You need to get them a little bit out of order fitting. We're going to see that later tonight. Almost certainly that bottom line's going to have trouble staying together when not everyone wants to work together. But it's interesting to me that the outside line, even with big shoves, isn't going to work. Look at Cedric Hunter, waits no longer, goes to the inside. He'll take the one of Seth Knoll with him, and now Connor Horn is the odd man out.
Oh, but Seth Knoll does a very aggressive bump mid-corner, almost turns his 07 in front of the field. And now you can see now with them 3 wide, losing a ton of time. And now Connor Horn's going to drift slowly on back.
And fortunate that they got separated in time because they were catching a lap car now. Not sure who that is. And, ooh, goodness gracious, they are still slicing and dicing, even with the lap car.
67 car of Ryan Swan.
Oh, that's Ryan Swan.
Him going a lap down.
I believe leading the outside line now is Michael Sturgill in the 17. Yep. Being pushed by Cedric Hunter in that 07. And so new leader once again on the outside line, Kyle, as maybe the 17 looks for a run.
The 07 was just not waiting around. I mean, to decide mid-corner, he'd been pushing that 42 for a couple laps and said, we're not going anywhere, let's try something different. And he just popped out to the middle and went. And look at now, look how much further forward they got with this run. The one car, funnily enough, didn't really go anywhere. He just kind of ended up back where he was. The 42 still getting split 3 wide.
Yeah, no one wants to seem to take Connor Horn near the front. Mike Sturgill, though, trying to challenge the lead from the 84 Cosman Yoneshiba here as it comes to the line. It's not going to quite be enough for the 17. Just going to be shy, but he's got a great run off of the tri-oval. Might have a chance to clear Cosman Yoneshiba. Indeed he will.
Wow. So that's the first time we've seen that all day, and Sturgill's going to need to leave these next 55 laps if he wants the $25 Amazon gift card for most laps led, because if not, that's going to be all Yoneshiba's. But back to that move a lap ago. Actually, Slaughter went down the middle trying to get around the 42, or he was already in front of the 42. He went out, tried to get some clean air, couldn't get back in line, and that's kind of where we're at right now because he's still 3 wide with Connor Horn in the middle of 3 and 4 right there. And I really don't know what that move was, but nonetheless, it still worked for Michael Sturgill and those 2 cars that were on the outside lane. Sturgill's now leading, and Slaughter is in a minefield of his own.
It is chaotic out there, to say the least. And really, we've seen organized lines, but those lines with each other have never really been organized 2 by 2, even like we saw even last week in the duels. So Sturgill now leads the way. It's the first time we've seen someone really just drive right by the 84. And now the 1 leads the upper groove with help from Connor Horn.
We'll see how this works. They got a strong run, but again, it's all fine and dandy up until you get to around 4th or 3rd of the car on the inside lane, and then they start to feel that huge amount of air that just pushes them back. We'll see, though, Connor Horn pushing aggressively, causing Yoneshiba jumping to the top lane, seeing the momentum, trying to bring it to a halt and take the lead back.
And then everyone's going to stack up here, Hunter, as we enter turn 1. That entire outside lane had to check up, but they did a nice job there.
Jumped up to get a run, and really jumped up when he saw that it was his teammate Seth Knoll leading that outside lane. Miller Racing looking to go 1-2 once again. Michael Sturgill still with Ed Robertson on the bottom, and haven't talked about Jacob Bell Racing all day, but you see the 77 and the 64 of Jacob Bell Racing now not nose tail, side by side for 5th and 6th position as Miller Racing moves down low. Yoneshiwa and Noel back like they never left. 1-2 on the bottom.
And Connor Horn now has clean air on his nose with Jacob Bell giving him a shove. And James Scioli, who was involved in that first wreck of the day on lap 7, he's back in the mix now, as high as we've seen the 7 car running. As low as 39th, as high now as 9th place. Here he is. Really slow car on the apron. Coming out of the corner, this is going to be right in the middle of the field. It goes way up to the outside, and that is very, very slow.
It is very slow, and it looks like everyone's going to make it on bike. I think because there are only 2 wide.
That was
so
new bigging.
Prices averted.
When he changed lanes, I thought we were about to get a Talladega 2008 scenario. What year was that?
LePage.
LePage.
You're thinking of LePage?
06?
Yeah. No, that was no way.
Look at me go. Ass facts.
NASA facts.
Hey, man. I thought that was cool that the International Space Station orbits 254 miles above the Earth, which is 4 miles more than we're racing tonight. Almost. We're in the neighborhood.
That almost feels too small. When you think about it vertically, that is quite a bit of a distance.
Space is only like 70 miles away, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the scheduled distance. We can have overtime.
We're gonna have overtime just to reach it because we didn't get all the way to the ISS. So, well, working lap number 50. Next time by is halfway. As the 21 of Delonte Ballard is going to go another lap down as everybody squeezes to the inside. I find the tri-oval the scariest part of this whole place.
Ooh, it definitely is, and we see many times many wrecks come out of the tri-oval, not even in the tri-oval itself, coming out of the tri-oval on the exit, because everyone gets kind of bunched up, thrown, and then kind of shot out, and see a lot of wrecks there, especially towards the later part of this race game, which sun is starting to set, and it is looking beautiful out there on the racetrack.
Well, speaking of looking beautiful out there on the racetrack, we also have someone who looks beautiful down in pit road, and that is Eric Weiland with an update. What you got?
Hey guys, so yeah, I mean, the sun is starting to set. We're still at 5:18 local time here in the sim, so we got a little bit of ways to go. Also, if I could have a direct flight to the space station, Kyle, in 2 hours like what these guys are running here, that would be awesome, but I think it takes a little longer than that to make sure you get docked properly and everything like that. I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist. So here's Ricky Harden with AJ Roderick. They were talking restart and just listen to how good of a spotter Ricky Harden is, how smoothing his voice is.
All right, car outside here. They're pushing really hard outside. 46 is offset. Just be very careful.
Outside's going to keep falling back here, I think.
Yep, they will. Still outside. Still outside. They're tight. You're clear outside.
So AJ Roderick doing a great job holding the pretty wheel, but Ricky Harden helping him out. That was back on the restart. Obviously, Ricky's going to be talking a little bit more now as that outside line is starting to creep their way forward, gentlemen.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, it's with the 42, it never really gets there, and I think it's, I have to wonder how much his early aggression cost him friends right now. I think that's a component of it, but right now he's getting a shove from the 77, who hadn't been around him all race long, didn't know about the foibles of earlier potentially when he was slicing and dicing, so Jacob's giving him a good shove, but the 84 continues to be the dominant force out front, and as long as he's holding the pretty wheel out front, Finian, he's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, a lot of Connor's actual written down friends, Skylar Shackelford and Jeremy Miller, are not doing too hot. Jeremy Miller is 13 laps down. Skylar Shackelford in the 88 is sitting 31st at the moment. So Connor doesn't really have a whole lot of friends to deal with in the front. And hasn't made a whole lot of friends today, it seems. And you're definitely going to struggle with that if you don't have drivers that are willing to work with you. I mean, he got ditched by Seth Noel and Cosmo Nunishiu earlier, who was running with those. They were running really well on top lane. And Connor Horn found out he was the third wheel in that relationship, and they just ditched him and went down to the inside lane. He got stuck on the top, although he's got a new friend in behind him with 77 of Jacob Bell.
Well, third wheel means you're doing it for Dale, so that's always a positive looking at it. But one thing I was going to say about Connor Horn, it seems like he's better as the pusher than as the leader, because like we saw, he was pushing Yoneshiwu, actually Seth Noel. He's pushing Seth Noel so hard that got him up front towards the leader and saw Yoneshiwu jump up. So it seems like he's the better pusher than receiver, if you will. But not to say things can change here, as we are past halfway, and I believe Cosmo Yoshi was going to lock up that $25 Amazon gift card for most laps led, because he's close to 50 laps, if I have to say.
Yes, exactly. 50 laps. And he'll lead 51 this time through and lock that. Certainly, I don't think there's anyone else that, well, maybe. No, he's good. He's got it. Whoa, a little bit of a shove there from the one across the stripe. He has led 51 laps as we complete our 54th. And now we have to start thinking. I know it's maybe a little early, Finian. Pit stops again on the horizon, potentially. Lap 36 is when we came. It's been about 20 laps since then.
Oh, yeah, and these guys are definitely going to start thinking about making it down to pit lane, especially with the final pit stop looming, considering we're close to making it on the end. Jake Nichols also jumping out from the bottom lane to the top lane to join Connor Horn. We were just talking about Connor being a little bit better as a pusher. He'll become with a huge head full of steam to the front.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And yeah, these guys are going to have to make one more set of pit stops, whether that's under green or under yellow conditions. That's to be determined. But you can just see how much better of a pusher Connor Horn is.
Wow.
Jake Nichols just took the lead in half a lap because of Connor Horn. I mean, look, he's gone. They could go down if they want to, and they could bring a third car with them well. That's Jacob Bell in the 77.
That was an unbelievable run from being nowhere on that outside group to pass the leaders and in that bottom lane. That was an incredible push from Connor Horn and a great lead by Jake Nichols with that steady wheel to put them out front, burying the 84 as deep in traffic as he's seen all night. P5.
Fantastic stuff there. So now, yeah, that I mentioned that 84 now stuck in traffic for the first time today. We'll see what he can do. Just kind of seeing behind. I'm sure he kind of realizes that, you know, this is that ebb and flow of the race. Kind of just to sit and let things come to you. Now, James Scioli leading charge on the top, and then the 66 of Brandon 6 in behind them.
Yes, Scioli is now the leader of the outside line, on board with the 66 of Brandon 6 and Bowie Esports, rebranded from Keeping It Real Esports, and solid showing for them, getting closer and closer towards the front. Well, a little bit of a run there, he got stalled out, but how bunched up they are. They're going to get it back in 3 and 4 as they'll be coming down the tri-oval this time by, and we'll be going down to Eric Weiland with another update from Pit Road.
Yeah, you'll hear him roar by me here soon, Hunter. I just want to give you guys a little update where we're looking at. So these guys, the window's going to open up for making, you know, a fuel, I'd say in another lap if you really want to save over the final stint, but I think most of these guys are not going to want to do that as they roar by me here on the front straightaway. I think they're going to try to get themselves in the comfortable window, so I'd expect the window really realistically to open up with around 38, 36 laps to go, and these guys will think about that final stop. Already one thinking about it, Connor Horn of 609 Motorsports, who just pushed Jake Nichols to the lead, talking about it a little bit with his team and a little bit over the radio, as well as Douglas Newbigging, but he is still 1 lap down, now 2 laps down. Did not catch the caution brake that Douglas was looking for, but you guys documented. I'm pretty impressed with it, how Connor Horn just hooked up and pushed right by with Jake Nichols there. That's a good friend to have in your pocket late in the race. But you got to get through this pit stop coming up here. Like I said, window opens about another 6 laps.
Thanks, Eric. A little bit dicey there as Nick Silver tries to slot in line somewhere. And Rafe Slate to the inside now, and there's the 2 of Greg Mitchell. But as we get closer to the end of this race is a lot closer to finishing than it might appear. Maybe it says 42 laps to go at the top of the ticker. Guys, that's 30 minutes from now, half an hour away, and that's 15 minutes from go time in my mind. I'm usually setting up 15, 20 laps to go, and we're 15 to 20 minutes from that. So this is where you have to start thinking after this pit stop, your first goal is going to be getting yourself in line for all those dominoes to fall the exact way that you planned them. The problem is, Finian, it's Daytona. The dominoes never fall the way that you intend.
No, they never do. You're just basically trying to prevent the dominoes from falling in a way you don't want them to. And you're just trying to control it as best as you can. A lot's out of your control, and you just have to kind of deal with it and hope for the best as Jake Nichols leads. Michael Sturgill trying to lead in charge from the top lane. Cedric Hunter in behind. Yeah, but how about Michael Sturgill, too? We talked about big movers from 37th all the way to 3rd and 2nd as he's fighting side by side with Connor Horn. There you see 07 giving a huge bump from behind.
Well, Sturgill might have the biggest mover of the race locked up if he can stay inside the top 5 now. An interesting battle for the lead. Going to head back down the pit road with another small update. Merrick Weiland has to get dicey for the lead.
Hey, radio from David Weishaupt Racing. Listen in.
All right, boys. Next time, bye.
Won't be surprised if they are. They are. They weren't faking me out, guys. Here comes the David Weishaupt Racing Group. The 45 of Chris Seidenfaden, the 09 of Bryce Senesac are going to lead us down pit road. This is their final stop of the race. They're going to push it. This is 40 laps to go as they cross the start-finish line down on pit road. Everybody in their box nice and neatly. I don't see any black flags, so good job for these guys. Getting on to pit road, it is 2 tires of fuel for David Weishaupt Racing Group. They're going to exit as a group together. Someone's straggling behind. That's the 09 of Senesac. Not good for him. So he will miss out. Jeremy Miller also making a stop, but he's by his lonesome. But David Weishaupt Racing, the first to flinch, coming down pit road.
More coming this time here, Eric. More coming to you. Cosmo Yonishiwu is one of them, and Seth Knoll is the other. They're going to woe it on down to pit road speed, so they will come on down next as it's getting really spicy up front as people are peeling off and moving from top to bottom.
Yeah, it opens up a lot of gaps in traffic where guys are going to try to stop themselves, especially if they're going to be coming into pit next time by. Pittsburgh, we only saw 2 drivers jump off in that last group. And I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some guys go a little bit longer, because you always want to be prepared just in case we do get that overtime restart. You're going to want just that little bit of extra gas. You don't want to come back down pit road a second time.
And you want to make sure you don't wreck into anyone coming down the road, as we might have some more takers this time by. Eric with a good look down pit road, few towards the back coming down.
So that Yonishiwu and Noel teammates, that was Miller Racing trying to make it down the first time. They didn't. Now this is Solid Rock Performance. This is Connor O'Krezek, Ryan Hartz, Rafe Slate, Ricky Springer, Ben Pierce, all coming down. I think we had some issues getting on pit lane. O'Krezek too fast entering. He's got the black flag. That's not good for the number 14 car. And he just slid his box. He's going to have to back up a little bit down here on my end. So he is up. Left side's up for these guys on the Solid Rock Performance team. Down and away goes the rest of his teammates. Rafe Slate, Ricky Springer all out. Connor's going to have to sit a little longer with the penalty. So next to flinch there is that team. And I expect another set to maybe come to me here off turn 4, guys.
Doesn't look like it from at least the lead pack this time through. Some smoke on the front straightaway from both the 3 and the 14. I think Ryan Hart's got it woed down just fine, but we saw the penalty, and that's going to cripple Connor O'Krezek. He is definitely going to need a caution flag to get back in the business before the end of this race. Finian, it is crunch time now. This is absolutely the money stop here. You have to execute. You can't make a mistake getting onto pit road, and this is something that you had to have practiced earlier today.
Oh, absolutely. It is definitely the one stop. This is the last stop for these guys, pretty much under green flag conditions. So if you make a mistake, it's going to cost you, like what we're seeing with Connor O'Krezek. So a lot of these guys got to be thinking in the back of your minds, planning out, where you're going to go on the track and when you're going to start braking. Don't want to start braking too late, because O'Krezek, he completely missed his braking marking and went in at around 100. He went in past the line, I think around 75, 78 miles an hour. So definitely want to pick and choose where you did. And like you said, should have practiced beforehand. You want to practice in the race.
Hey guys, big problems down here on pit lane. That was Skylar Shackelford. Came down pit road by himself. He did not pit with his 609 Motorsport teammates. I think that was a miscue for that group, but the 88 just completely missing out and pitted by himself, and I believe he is exited by himself. You guys have a better look on the backstretch than I do from pit road.
Yeah, it's going to get dicey here. You see him about to get swallowed alive here by the race leaders as they come out of turn 4. Where do you go? He's going to go to the bottom. Everyone else is going to go high. Did anybody need or want to come to pit lane? That door is shut. They're all going to stay on the racetrack this time through, Finian.
Interesting that we're seeing a lot of guys just completely stay out. So it looks like we found a group of guys that have decided,
look out!
Some tangling in the background, some beating, some shuffling, and it looks like we might remain green.
And that was Shackelford getting the door sent off.
Yeah. I was going to say he had to pit on his own because teammate Luke Miller, I believe, 13 laps down, maybe a little more than that, and Connor Horn is stuck on this outside, leading the outside lane, so even if he wanted to, he'd have to merge down towards the bottom. But well, we might have some more takers coming in this time by, a lot more spread out than a lap ago.
So Horn, you guys don't see this on your picture, but I actually have our in-sim views pulled up, and Horn is definitely messing with a button box or something to his right. in his sim. I'm not sure if it's his mouse or whatever, but he's getting himself set for a pit stop. I don't know that he quite wants to make it just yet. These guys can go another 5 to 10 laps on fuel from where they're sitting at right now, but it's a matter of when they make that stop with others. So for reference, the David Weishart Racing Group that pitted guys, that's led by Brad Slaughter Jr., as AJ Roderick has hit pit road in front of me by himself as well. 2 tires and away for the 56 car just drove by. But Brad Slaughter Jr. is leading that second group, guys. He is just crossing the start-finish line now, and they are, I'd say, within a tenth, 2 tenths, just down from the lead pack right now, so not quite working out for them yet, but they're in a single file line compared to 2 wide at the main pack.
There goes the 51 to the outside of another trailing pack, and splitting 3 wide. Michael Sturgill, Cedric Hunter, the Yonoshiwu and the 51 of Ricky Springer. They tried to slow this pack up, and they did a fantastic job doing it, Finney, and that's going to hurt this group that has not yet pitted. You see Connor Horn jump into the bottom in the background here. He's navigating his way to the yellow line to set up for his pit stop.
Yep, and just calling the radio that he is coming by this time around, and I'm curious to see who's going to follow the 42. Are we going to see a big group or a small group come pit lane? There goes the 42 by himself.
Intriguing. I mean, his teammate did pit with that, so didn't have anyone to go down with, so this will be interesting and how that will play out for him. Meanwhile, still back up here with the main pack-ish, as Sturgill's still leading the way. Going to be very interesting in how the rest of these guys safely get on the pit road, because we could see a wreck from this. I mean, it's happened in the past. It could happen here, especially with how dicey these guys have been all night long.
See the 8 car pushing and shoving quite a bit. And again, that's Rafe Slade, who's already completed his pit stop. He's actually the leader of those that have already completed their stops. It's just the 2 ahead that have not yet come. And then there's a whole bunch that are mixed in throughout this pack. But the 94 and the 51 did a great job slowing that pack up and joining this group, which is going to help them long term once this other group comes to pit lane. But now that it's disorganized, Finian, the chances that this turns into an accident are a lot higher.
Oh, definitely, especially as they're catching more and more drivers that made mistakes on pit lane and catching more, I guess, quote-unquote, rolling chicanes here. Flying on by some more cars coming off pit lane. Connor Horn is going the track in front of him, as well as Jeremy Miller. Actually, Connor Horn looks like he's going to be picked up by the pack led by Chris Seidenfein, Gary Grant, David Weishart, Ryan Hartz, Connor Krez, and Brad Slaughter. See that group coming there.
If they pick him up, Hunter.
They might not pick him up. They might just take it to the outside and scoot right on by. See if Horn can manage the draft and stay in touch with these guys, but it's going to be tough for 42 to stay in touch with that. Meanwhile, back here in the pack, it's go time for these guys. They're starting to stay 3 wide now as they're getting around lap car. Sturgill still leading the way, catching up on that Yonoshiwu and Noel and the other guys that came down pit road.
Yeah, this is pretty disorganized as far as pit stop sequences go.
Whoa! Oh my goodness!
Oh, there they go!
That was almost correct.
Cedric Hunter's around, and are they going to crash? They don't. Ow!
Oh my goodness! Cedric Hunter is a wheelman. I'll tell you what. There are some drivers who are mailmen, and there are some drivers who are wheelmen. And the 07 of Cedric Hunter, you just saw right there with the sim rep marker replay. He is a certified wheelman.
That
going down on pit lane, Eric Weiland. That was crazy.
What a wild save. Very Kyle Busch-esque from the Budweiser shootout days. Great job there. A nice piece of driving from Cedric Hunter. But man, the in-sim radio lit up the moment that happened, guys. Hearn especially vocal. He is very upset with the lappers, the ones that are really working hard to try to stay on the lead lap. That's the Solid Rock Performance group of Rafe Slate, Ricky Springer, that did not have a good pit sequence there with Connor Okresic, as well as Cosmin Yonoshiwu and Seth Noel from Miller Racing that stopped by themselves compared to the rest of their team. They got caught out and all tried to stay on the lead lap. They were working hard, and it almost cost the leaders there, the Fazekas Motorsports group as well as Bowie Esports. But expect these guys to be thinking about pit stops here within the next 5 laps for those that have stayed out this far. And man, these checkups up front really help in that David Weishart Racing group.
Yeah, I can sort of sympathize with Cameron a little bit, but the line between what is a lapper in the traditional sense and what is just alternate pit strategy is very blurry right now. See the 11 bail out of the way. The 46 is going to jump up in the mix as well. But it is so disorganized, as I was mentioning right before that accident, that between the drivers that have come and the drivers that have not come, I don't think anybody knows who has and who has not yet unless they're paying very close attention or have a spotter, because they're all intermixed, Finney, and it's getting very hard for us and for the drivers to know who's about to stop in the racing line and get down to pit lane.
It really is tough to know now, but the laps are winding down. These guys can only really go so many more laps. I mean, they're really pushing the limit. We're saying that the limit's around 36 to 40 laps, and take out a few laps of caution. They should be coming down to pit lane within the next 5 laps or so. But it's just a matter of when and with who come down with, and especially now that they're all spread out.
I'd definitely say before lap, because I don't see how any of these guys can go longer than that.
Not this time for Sturgill. One of the drivers that's left 38 laps on that stint. Same with Tom DeLeo and Moore. And the drivers that have come down the furthest ago are about 14 laps into their run already, Finian. So the difference in strategy is pretty large. I don't think handling will really come into play here in a day race. It's not incredibly hot. But I just don't know that tires will do a lot for you. So those that are taking 2, it's just kind of a formality because they're already sitting there for a certain amount of time. I don't think that'll do you a whole lot. I don't think 4 will matter a whole lot, but you got to get the fuel packed in the car to make it to the end.
Yeah, I mean, earlier in the day, the track was around 100 degrees, cool down 87. So if anything, the track has gotten cooler. It's gotten a little bit more grip for these guys. But I don't think handling is going to be a thing. It's really just going to be fuel. A lot of guys just electing to get 2 tires and just spend the rest of the time in pit stall down getting gas, save them about 2 to 3 seconds, which may not seem like a lot, but it adds quite a bit here, especially when you're moving a football field a second.
These guys might be sitting in the catbird seat here. Weishart, Fine, and the rest. Ryan in car here with David Weishart in the very classic Tom and Jerry shirt and proper racing attire for biggest race of the season, the Area 500. As mentioned, running part-time, doing only a couple of races from Cup Racing and moving towards the bottom of the middle of the turn. That was a bit risky. Weishart still could put himself in an opportunity to win and possibly go for the Cup Championship for Season 4. But in the meantime, going to push the 45 of time finding and see how the rest of this one plays out with less than 25 to go.
I'd have to expect that this next group, led by Michael Sturgill, Brandon Six, Jake Nichols, and his entire crew, you'd have to expect that they have to hit pit lane in the next 2 or 3 laps. 41 laps on that fuel tank and set of tires, so it is go time now. Maybe hoping that they can short fuel, Finney, and just take a little bit of fuel, a little bit less than the rest of the group took.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know, but the David Weishart group, they're really struggling right now with pace. Last time by, the leaders went by almost 7 tenths of a second faster last time through. They've been getting really discombobulated here, and they've been losing a lot of time, and the leaders are quite behind them. And I see Dominic DeLeo come on down, Greg Mitchell, and Cameron Hearn all make their final pit stops.
About the latest of late calls Finian as Fazekas could make, they were thinking about the next lap, and then suddenly in the middle of turn 3, Dom DeLeo goes 77, which was the current lap they were on, and they all tried to figure out how to get down pit road. Only 3 of them did. Greg Mitchell, Cameron Hearn, and Dom DeLeo made it down, so that left out a few teammates there. That would have been, let's see here.
Curran.
Actually, no, yeah, it would have been Curhan, but he was trailing the lead pack anyway, so he did come down, but he's going to be way off because only the top 16 were really in packs. Curhan was another couple seconds back from any pack, so he's caught out on his own. 2 tires and fuel for the Fazekas Motorsports group. 3 of them that did make a stop, as well as here comes Jacob Bell, Jordan Martin, Ed Robertson, and Nick Silver. That's Jacob Bell Motorsports coming to us, or Jacob Bell Racing, excuse me, coming to pit lane here in front of me. Everybody in their box nice and easy, except for Jacob Bell. He's going to slide. He made it. The left side jack went up, so it's left side tires for everybody here. I don't know how I totally feel about this call because the Cup car can get a little loose on older tires here, but they're going to try to make it work to the end of the race here.
The rest of the field comes out of turn 4, and here comes Michael Sturgill all the way down on the apron. Can Brandon Six get it slowed down? He's hot, trying to lock it down. I think he got it down to pit road speed. and so comes the 73 of Jake Nichols. That looked pretty dicey, though. That was at the limit, Finian.
Yeah, he was pushing the limit, but managed to just get under it where it counts the most. Ooh, Jonathan Cogswell coming into his box at an awkward angle. Looks like he's going to be able to get service in the 27. The 66 is off and away, as well as Michael Sturgill. But Brandon Six, he really capitalized on that entry, made up a huge amount of time. It looks like he's going to lead this group off of pit lane.
Right sides up on the 73, guys. He was the only one that was really different. He went right sides for the stop. He's going to come out just behind the 66 there. Brandon Six off of pit road. Meanwhile, another group, that was Lucky Duck Motorsports, that came down pit road. They're rolling off now. And the rest of Jake Nichols' team, Solar Flare Racing, just decided to make their stop sets. Tyler Nichols and Dwayne Culberson.
Well, here comes the field. The 2, the 22, the 4. They're already up to pace as this very discombobulated group kind of reforms on the back straightaway with 20 laps to go next time by. And it's going to be really dicey the next lap or two, Finian, as everyone finds out where they're going to line up in this big group of cars.
Yeah, you can see this entire field is snaking their way through. The guys still getting up to speed, and the guys who've been off pace, stuck out of lane, stuck off the strategy. So the entire field is completely, you rarely see this at Daytona where the field is this separated. This is something you would see out of the 70s or the 60s, not really in 2023. And it's a really great sight to just see everyone on different strategies all coming to a head here. And we're really starting to see now who picked right, who picked wrong.
Well, 66 seemed like he picked right, and Jake Nichols as well, along with Michael Sturgill, because they are separated by almost 3 seconds from, actually, a little bit more than that. Yeah. They're 3 seconds off from Sturgill. They're over 5 seconds from Mitchell.
Yeah, Sturgill's in big trouble here because he is by himself and is going to get swallowed up. He came out of pit lane basically cycling into third, but he's going to get run over here in a minute. But 3 seconds clear of the field is Brandon Six and Jake Nichols, Finian. They executed that to perfection. The challenge is now, can they get enough speed and momentum to carry on this lead when the rest of the pack gets there? But they have Beckner and the 70 car of Dean Thompson lined up behind them as well, which should help them gather some speed here as the field repopulates.
I was going to say the main thing they need is more cars. The 2 cars, the era of the 2-car tango is gone and past. You can't keep this going up near the front. They got really lucky, though, coming off of pit lane that they were right next to each other. They hooked up immediately and went. So that bought them a bit of time. And now you mentioned Beckner catching up in behind them, as well as the 70 of Dean Thompson. Now Delonte Ballard and Skylar Shackelford are joining their group of 6. So now they actually have a decent group where they could hold a bit of a lead. Question is for how much longer that the pack starts to bear down on them.
Saw in car there with Connor Horn running in 7th, and that second pack trying to catch up with the leaders. This would help Travis Beckner. We're crossed with 19 to go. If a caution does come out and Beckner is not involved, he'd be the lucky dog, and Dean Thompson be the runner-up to that lucky dog right behind him in this little 6-car pack. And you see they're catching another lap car, but that second pack, if they're going to want to catch this first pack, I was going to say they have to be
look
organized,
out, guys!
because
the 66 gets just totally blocked by the 70 there. They were trying to put him to the back of the pack, give the 73 the advantage, but what ended up happening is he got hooked together with the 70, lost a bunch of momentum, and almost ended his night with that number 70 car, who's not in the lead lap. So Six is going to lose the draft with that front pack, and that actually is going to leave Jake Nichols by himself with a pack of lappers, Finian, out front.
This could get really interesting. Now they're working around the 24, Michael Curran, who's not had the best of days. He was back on the lead lap after being lapped down for a little while. Now back down a lap again. They're going to leave him his dust. And now here comes the main pack, led by Greg Mitchell currently in 3rd place. Dom DeLeo, Cameron Hearn, Nick Silver riding in behind.
So Jake Nichols essentially has his own brigade that he's leading, because they're all lapped down. They're not for position, at least not for the lead position. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Look at that. 3 lap cars all behind. That's his brigade. That's all he's got. It's the line of defense for the 73. I was going to say, the second pack needs to be organized if they're going to want to do anything, because it's not a complete disadvantage for Jake Nichols and that 4-car pack he's in. They're all organized, and no one's going to make any aggressive.
And in behind them.
Yeah.
In behind
They're
them,
not
Brandon
gonna
Six, he's about to get overtaken by the main pack. Going to get swallowed up and spit out as Greg Mitchell leads the charge. Huge head full of steam.
Accident potential here as the speed differential and the pack hungry for victory. 15 laps to go at the stripe. Jake Nichols, his lead is dwindling. He's got it, and the lappers are helping, but it is dwindling. He's not necessarily going to get to just cruise to victory 3 seconds ahead of the field. It's just going to take him a little bit longer. But if we can get through this reshuffling without drama, it's going to be a 15-lap sprint to run down that 73 and bury him as deep in the pack as the field can, because we know he's going to win races this season, Finney, and it's only a matter of time, but don't let him get an easy one like Daytona.
I was going to say, if, for anyone at home that loved the cartoon Tom and Jerry, you're seeing the NASCAR version of that right now as Jake Nichols is just trying to drive away from the big scary Tom in behind. He's Jerry at the moment by himself. Tom is about 20 cars deep trying to catch him and see if they can win this thing.
Tom being David and the cheese being Eric Weiland on pit road. What you got?
Hey, actually, for David Weishart, he is not happy, guys. Listen in.
Just gotta save a little bit.
This is the worst play race I've ever been a part of.
I'm having fun. Oh, man.
I'm not at all.
I wish you would have lost the draft back to .1. I desperately needed.
So I didn't know we were all moving to the top. That would have been nice information.
So that was when they caught a lapper a little bit ago, but it has worked out in their favor. But there's a reason that David Weishart didn't want to come back cup racing, guys, and I think this is part of it. He is not having a good time as they slide by a lapper there on the back straightaway. So some stressful moments there in the Weishart Racing group. Meanwhile, this is Brandon 6. So I want to clear something up that I mentioned earlier in the broadcast. Chris Rabel is on the racetrack. He is racing. I got the spotter name wrong. It's Brandon Bowie on the box for Brandon 6 in the 66. I still love that he chose that number this year. But here's the Bowie Esports group talking race strategy again.
Did it feel broke, 6? Or you still feeling good?
No, that's fine.
Sorry, put your head down, man. You still got, still got about 15 laps to go, so keep digging, man.
So that was after the monstrous block set by the 70.
Man.
More action on track.
Greg Mitchell catching the draft and the slipstream 206 miles an hour down into turn 3. And here he comes, Dominic DeLeo pushing him, trying to see if he can get the lead here.
Here they come, chasing down Jake Nichols with his rear gunners of lap cars, including last year's Area 500 champion, but Mitchell to the outside, Ford Mustangs powering up to the upper groove. Can Greg Mitchell take the lead away with 11 laps to go next time by? He tastes the lead for a moment, but Beckner's going to give the 73 a shove. They enter the back straightaway, the Daytona Super Stretch, and it's Ford Mustangs lined up on the outside, Camaro on the inside, Finian.
And you see Mitchell just barely ahead, clear on the outside, but here comes Nichols with his brigade of lap cars trying to help him. Whoa! DeLeo almost turned.
Oh, there you go! DeLeo out of control. The 14 of the Kresniks around, crashed out of turn 4. Caution out, 11 laps to go, and more involved. Brandon 6 is in it.
Huge wreck off of turn 4, one of the biggest wrecks we've seen tonight.
14 car was the one that first got turned around, but DeLeo was dead sideways, and there was not really much you're going to do about that. Let's have a look at our SimRat Market replay.
Why is it always my pick?
Watch the 22 and the 2 right there. They get together. Then the 4 gets in the back of the 22, sends him around. Then the 14 off the bumper, I think, is at the 51. And then Weishart in it as well. '66 almost got through it. Weishart almost got through it, and he actually wallops the 4. Dean Thompson gets collected, and just a big mess out of turn 4. But guys, it was bound to happen at some point. This is, so far, the big one.
Yeah, and you see, at some point, like you mentioned, so much on the line, so many cars still running in such a tight space, and something's bound to happen. If you want to take a good replay, Brandon Slaughter Jr. has it on board me. Pretty interesting. Straight forward.
Right on board with Brad Slaughter Jr.
Marks being in front of him, and the gates somehow open for the 83.
Not so lucky, though, was David Weishart. Here is what he saw.
Because if you already hated this race before, he's definitely going to hate it now. Almost made it through, caught the 4, Cameron Hearn, right at the end.
David Weishart, he just gave a mean throw to a Sharpie from his acquaintance, or his living arrangements, or his racing setup. He just gave a mean throw to a Sharpie, so not too happy there is the 33 of Weishart. And boys, this is crunch time now, because 2/3 of Fazekas that was up front, still up front, the Leo and Mitchell, second, third. Got Jordan Martin over there in 4th. He's got to win at Talladega, so he knows a thing or two about getting it done. Ricky Springer in 5th. Jacob Bell, Silver, Slaughter, Yunishiwu, and Knoll in the top 10 for now. And Travis Beckner coming back on pit road. And we'll go back to Eric Weiland with an update. What you got?
Hey guys, so most of the people that came down pit road the first time around, it's just damage repair. That'd be Ben Pierce in the 65, AJ Roderick, my pick to win at the 56, Chris Seidenfun, Bryce Senesac, David Weishart, and Slaughter were pit stops for fuel, because I don't know if they were good to the end. They were mentioning they needed to save there, as you guys heard from the radio report earlier. Meanwhile, I was with Solar Flare Racing when the yellow flag came out. Listen in to what they were talking about.
Well, it was fun while it lasted, being the only lead lap car in the lead group.
Oh, they are wrecking.
All right, let off, Dwayne. We're good. Just let off.
I think that was Cameron Hearn and almost
Let's go.
Tom.
We got a shot, boys.
Yeah, I'm leading.
Dwayne,
so.
we got a shot. Me and you, man.
So some good vibes there with Solar Flare Racing as Jake Nichols retains the lead, and Dwayne Culberson and Tyler Nichols are back into the fold after losing some ground during the green flag pit stops. Meanwhile, over at Fazekas Motorsports, it was not a happy time. Listen in.
I don't know what happened. All I know is
I thought we were all moving down to side draft a little bit, and then once that happened, I was a little bit in front of Greg, and I got squirrely, and you were too close to me because we were doing such a good job pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a heck of a run, though.
So not a happy time there for Dom DeLeo and company as they lose Cameron Hearn. But Greg Mitchell, Dom DeLeo still up front. Let's see if they can do something here to the end. Kyle, back to you.
Area Cup Series, Area 500, the kickoff for the 2023 season is 8 laps away at this restart from being finished. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Guys, 8 laps to go at the restart. Finian, taking bets. Going green, white, checkered, or going green to the end?
Oh, we're definitely going to have a green, white, checkered. I would be surprised. These guys are doing a great job so far, but arguably too good of a job. We have so many cars still in the run. We have 30 drivers still in the lead lap and still wanting to win this thing. I think we're definitely going to have a wreck before this is over.
All right, time to go racing. 8 laps to go from the Daytona International Speedway. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe to SimTV and or twitch.tv/area iRacing. Thanks for being with us tonight. 8 laps to go from Daytona. Green flag back in the air from the world center of racing.
Bukata and Yonishiwa already trying to go 3 wide up the middle, making some moves to the front. Curious to see how that's going to. Is anyone going to try to join him?
Not really sure if that's the move to go. Maybe they'll move down towards the front, but got
oh, behind him,
pairing
crash.
Up.
Trouble, the 88's around and more. The 14's in it again. Caution right back out and almost clobber each other again, swinging back across the road.
Not going to lie, not where I thought the wreck would happen.
Me either.
Okay, well, forget everything I just said. Go back, take a look at a replay, and
need to watch this one in slow-mo, I think. Watch the 14 here up the middle, and then the 88 on the bottom. Watch them come together on corner exit. Curran to the outs. The 14 swerves left, gets the 88 into the 24. 70, Adine Thompson gets in there, and around goes the 88. Not much more to that, guys.
Yeah, it's always my driver. Poor O'Crescent. Not a good night.
Not a good one. And that will end the night for Connor O'Kresick. Go right back under yellow. And that means,
didn't take quick for my prediction.
Yeah, well, we knew we were going to get another one, but I was curious about whether or not we'll get a green-white checkered. We're going to restart with probably 5 to 4 laps to go, and that will mean that any other yellow will bring us into our caution period. Now, guys, there is a limit on the number of green-white checkers we have here. Thank goodness, because we've seen how in the real world how that can get pretty wild. Finney, and that limited number of attempts means that track position gets really important right about now.
Oh, absolutely. It is going to become extremely important. You're going to have less and less time to work your way to the front. If you're already outside the top 20, I'm sorry to say you probably don't have much of a shot at winning this race, unless there's a massive wreck on the final lap, which is a very much a possibility. That being said, I think you're going to want to try to get as far front as possible if you aren't there already. And problem is, a lot of people also are going to have that same mindset, and that's where we're going to see guys go 3, maybe even 4 wide if they're crazy enough.
Yeah, they might be crazy enough to do that because we're in single digits with laps left in the race. And I'm going to say that we're going to go green one more time before we have to go into a potential overtime scenario, as looking back at a replay here.
Yeah, we're just going back through some of the earlier moments in this race. Here's Dom DeLeo getting a shove for the number 3. But early in this race, a big spread gets blocked big time there by the 2 car. That was almost a big one there. Ben Pierce went around almost big time as well in turn number 4. On the front straightaway right there off the bumper of the 30. Went for a slide to the grass. Somehow didn't end up in the fence. That was a big moment. And certainly there were some other big moments here as well. Watch this on the 17 of Sturgill. Gets shoved around the 94. That was the first time we've really seen anyone take the lead away from him. And then Jake Nichols later in the race. Watch this shove from the 42, Finian.
Yeah, those two are a powerhouse together, working their way to the front. Absolutely flew by the 84. You saw both of them get clear, wait till they were clear, and then pull down the front to secure that lead.
And then this moment, watch the 07 here with a big push from Brandon 6 into the back of the 17, and right here, check up, and the 07 almost gets junked, but manages to cling to it and avoid end up in the drink there. So did a great job there. Brandon 6 later off the 70 and almost in the wall, did a good job keeping that car from getting into big mess. And then of course one of our most recent collisions, this starting with the 2 and 22 and then shuffling backwards here as they come out of turn 4, Finian.
Yeah, and this is what we're talking about, those stack ups, everyone getting stuck up together and behind the 2 there you see, and then the checkup comes out of turn 4, everyone collides together. And honestly, I was kind of surprised there weren't more cars involved in that wreck. Quite a few guys got away with minimum damage or no damage at all.
And then most recently, the 88 of Shackelford comes out of turn number 2. 14 of O'Kresick gets a little loose, comes down, hooks him into the outside wall. And that was our most recent yellow flag. So back now, there's the 88 getting back up to speed to catch the field. 1 lap to green, lights are out on the pace car, and we're about ready to get back going again. 4 laps to the end of the Area 500.
Yeah, it's coming down to it. Just 10 miles left to racing, if we reach the scheduled distance. And there's a lot of, again, I'm actually kind of curious to see the guys we got up here. How about Jordan Martin? Haven't talked a whole lot about him in that 11 car. He's been up and down the field quite a bit today, starting in 12th. Now in 2nd place, has a solid shot at winning this thing.
Solid indeed, and we head down the pit road one final time before we go back green. Eric Weiland, any more updates?
Hey, I moved indoors again. It was getting a little hot out here in Daytona, even though the ambient's 73 here. But watch this restart. There's a deal that's been made. I didn't get it recorded on audio. Jake Nichols intentionally took the top for a reason. He's going to drop down in front of Jordan Martin in the 11 and the 77, and Jacob Bell put those 3 lined up on the bottom and see what they can do here in these final 4 laps, guys.
4 laps to go in the Area 500. Back on the lead lap is Travis Beckner. The 42 of Connor Horn is buried 27th. That'll be fun to watch. Green flag back in the air. 4 laps left from the World Center of Racing. The 73 well clear of the 11. And now the momentum starts to build to the end of the first race of the season.
Oh, I think the 73 is way too far ahead of the 11, though. Brad Slaughter hooking up with Greg Mitchell on the top side. They're already hooked, trying to build up some momentum, build up a run here out of turn 2.
They might have it down the backstretch. Greg Mitchell with a push from Brad Slaughter going towards
there they go again. The 42's in the wall.
In the back once more.
And this is
Mitchell's
another.
going to have the lead.
Oh boy. Caution is out. Swan's in it. The 42 of Connor Horn is in it. And mayhem once more. And right back under yellow. Tim Rat Market replay.
I think what we're going to see here, though, is just too many cars in the same piece of racetrack. Coming off of turn 2, big stack up.
Yeah, just, I mean, you could break this down so many different ways, but at the end of the day, just a lot of cars in a small space. 4 wide there. Connor lifts. The 4's right there behind him, gets him into the outside wall, and then Beckner, the 45 gets turned off of him. He takes a really hard hit to the outside wall, driver's side. The 30 of Miller, the 67 is in it. That was just a big, big, big mess on the back straightaway.
Yeah, again, mostly involving drivers being the rear cars.
Travis Beckner definitely had a little piece of the action there. Saw from the onboard.
Oh, someone hit big on the inside there, guys. Is that the 33 of Weishart? Yeah. Watch this. Bam.
Oh, man.
Catches the blunt end of the tires and into the wall. He went there.
Rough day for the 33 of Weishart. Well, boys, looks like we're going to have our one attempt at a green-white checker. And judging from the last couple of cautions, I'm not so confident that these guys will make it to the white and have a green flag finish.
Well, this
looking at it,
go ahead.
I was going to say, looking at it this way, Greg Mitchell and Brad Slaughter, they had a big enough run on the outside to get in front of Jake Nichols, and they got to the front 2 spots before the yellow came out. So this is interesting here. Mitchell, he could, if he wants to, take the outside lane, prevent the 73 from having a shot on the inside and giving it to Slaughter, although I'm not 100% sure he'll do that. As we go down pit road once more to hear from Eric Weiland.
Oh, the strategy of Cook and Hunter is going to be oh so good. However, they decide to play this restart out. I haven't quite heard of any deals there yet, but here's Jacob Bell on the restart and the trouble he had.
I missed a gear.
And there were quite a few explicitive words after that one that I'm not going to play over for you guys. But here's Jordan Martin after the yellow flag came out. He is one that's very upset.
We can't go green. This is the problem. We can't go green. Like, this race would have been perfect coming to the end, but we just can't go green at the end.
And to put the cherry on top of Jordan Martin's comments, guys, he just said in the race chat, we've used all of our talent up for tonight. It's all gone.
Well, I mean, I definitely get that frustration. I mean, you're down to the end and you're just so close. And at this point, as I mentioned before, this becomes a track position game, because while everyone knows why we're under yellow and everyone knows the situation here, if we get anyone that thinks they can take advantage of everyone being cautious, we get a caution and end this race basically how we restarted. So this is a pretty critical moment for Greg Mitchell to get a good restart. If he does, I think he's going to win this area 500.
It's one of those things, right, where everyone knows that if everyone remains cautious, they can end this thing under green. That being said, being cautious is not going to win you this race. So he's going to be the one that tries to win this race, and you know, everyone's going to be going for it pretty much at that point. So Greg Mitchell, I think for him, he's going to be hoping they have a wreck as soon as possible and that he can get ahead and stay ahead of Brad Slaughter. Jake Nichols, Seth Null, I don't know what they can really do being stuck in behind, because they're going to be pushing the 2 and the 83 respectively. So they're just going to have to kind of push. They're going to actually really just have to hope that they go green, at least till the white flag. And once the white flag's out, all bets are off.
I'll say once more, there's $100 on the line for the winner of tonight's Area 500. So Greg Mitchell is going to be the only driver who wants to see a yellow drop immediately after we restart here, and we go back down pit road one more time before the final restart. Eric Weiland, once more. What you got?
Hunter, huge development down here. Greg Mitchell does not want a caution. He says he has 2.8 laps of fuel in the tank. Guys, he's short fueled on his pit stop, and he may not make the end.
Oh boy, drama is late here at Daytona. The final restart. This is it. It's checkers or wreckers from the World Center of Racing. The Area 500 after 100 laps. We are over our scheduled distance. This would have been coming to the checkers. This is the completion of lap 100. 102 laps on the board, though. Time to go racing one final time. If they get a yellow, the race is over. If they get the white, they're racing to the checker. Green flag back in the air, and we're racing once more from Daytona.
Both lanes off at pretty much the same time, equal with each other. It's a drag race heading off into turn 1. Seth Noel in that top lane, though, is starting to get hooked together and starting to push.
Well, Slaughter looking for this second Area 500 win. He'd be the only driver to win multiple Area 500s. Got Seth Noel.
Oh, look out, he's gone!
Run. Oh, no, there he goes!
Behind him, crash!
Never mind.
3 wide for the lead. Does the caution come out? Yes, it does. Who was won?
Who was leading?
The Area 500.
Might have been Jacob Bell. It's either Bell or Mitchell.
We will wait.
3 wide at the moment of caution.
We will go back and review it. But the iRacing scoring, as far as I know, Hunter, will stand. White flag and yellow displayed together.
Now we got to see if Mitchell can make it to the end because he was low on fuel. Didn't know if he'd have enough if we had a caution, and now we're at that situation. But Seth Noel taking the white flag, although not 100% sure who was leading at the time of caution. The 3 wide pickle between himself, Jacob Bell, and Greg Mitchell.
We will wait until they cross the stripe, and then we will go back and we will watch the exit of turn 2 as the field found calamity behind them. It was a big wreck back there. And you know who that might have saved was Brad Slaughter Jr. from sliding further backwards, Finian. He was destined to come out of the back straightaway maybe no better than 20th because of all the momentum he lost in that big slide. We will go back and look at it again, but the leader as it is Seth Noel in the number 1. Then it's Jacob Bell in the 77, Greg Mitchell in the number 2, Jake Nichols in the 73, and Dom DeLeo in the number 22. They come out of turn 4. And this scoring stays put. Seth Noel would be your winner. Pace car crosses the stripe. Checkered flag is waving. And Seth Noel is your 2023 Area 500 winner. Jacob Bell, Mitchell, Nichols, DeLeo, your top 5.
That was extremely close looking at the replay between Noel, Bell, and Mitchell on the back straightaway at the moment of caution. If you're going to take a look right now.
Yeah, let's go back and have a look at it. We're going to look at it in slow motion as they come out of turn number 2. And let's first see, well, the 83 gets hooked around. Where does the accident start, though, is what I'm curious about.
A little further back, guys. I managed to see it.
Yep, there it is. There is the accident, and then here comes, and the caution didn't fly for a long time. We're going to see the caution lights up on that outside there, just out of view. We're going to jump on board here and see if we can catch, well, there's the caution now. Man, this is, every time that we do this, Finian, I always wonder how this is actually done, because the 77 is out front here, but where the caution actually began, I'd have to bet right about here.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing, because when the caution comes out in the sim is different from when the lights are displayed on the track. Real life, that's not how it works, but in iRacing, it's slightly different. So, and we've seen several races in the past where it seems like the wrong driver is in front, but again, when the moment of caution iRacing is different on the track and the visual, you can see there.
Still green, but again, this is what I believe is the moment of actual caution. This is the last moment that Seth Noel is leading this race. And while we're watching this, he is celebrating, or will be celebrating here. So let's catch that before we go back and unpack the rest of it. But Seth Noel in the 1 car in the Celsius Toyota Camry, victorious at Daytona.
And guess what, guys? We made it to the space station.
We did. 102 laps is enough distance to get us there and in the garage.
Never count out the possibility.
Man, what a drive. In this race, he led 2 laps. And one of them was just the run back to the stripe.
Right. Going back at it, the average laps led by the winner. 2 laps. That's all you need. last season, Travis Beckner, all he led was 2 laps, and these are the 2 most important ones.
And here it is again. So I think we're going to see, was it off of the 4 of Cameron Herner, just around there when the stack up starts? Right here. Oh, the 81 off the outside lane. And that's where the accident starts. Oh, man, the 81 got absolutely annihilated there by the 67. Watch this impact here as the 67 comes into the shot. Ryan Swan. He is going to drive into the door right here. Bam! Huge hit there for Ryan Swan in the 67. And then for the 83 of Brad Slaughter Jr., let's watch his escapade here, leaving turn number 2, and what happened to him.
Yeah, he's going to probably be the most frustrated out of this, because had this not happened, he would have been the winner.
What a great save, but he would have probably fallen further back because the caution comes out right about there. And once more, we know that the scoring in iRacing is not lined up perfectly with the yellow. You can see, so you see the cautions out there, but that's long past when the pass was made here from the 77 to the 1. But this is the last opportunity that the 1 is leading. And again, you can go frame by frame, but it's not going to match up. There's where it goes yellow, and it's a foot, right? But it goes to the 1 because the caution lights take a minute to illuminate. And that's why NASCAR uses the timestamp rather than the actual lights on the walls, because they take a minute to illuminate. So that is that's how we ended up that. But holy cow, guys, let's have a look at our results here. Up front, Seth Knoll in the 1, Jacob Bell in the 77, Greg Mitchell, Jake Nichols, Dom DeLeo, your top 5, Finian.
Yeah, really, really awesome stuff, especially with those 3 at the end. And quite a few guys that you can argue probably should have been up near the front, near the top of this list, but unfortunately weren't able to make it to the end, got caught up in some sort of issue or the other. But that's what we're talking about, at Daytona. The dominoes, they end up falling, and you're just trying to make sure they fall in the order you want them to.
Well, look at it this way. Slaughter still got a top 10, finished 7th after that mishap there on the last green white checkered, or the last restart. Didn't expect the photo finish like that, but man, what an interesting way to end the race as Springer, Sturgill, and Cedric Hunter round out the top 10. And you get a look at the rest of the drivers who finished 11th through 20th.
Yep, and then looking down, James Scioli there down in P20. Here's some drivers that didn't have days that they would have liked. Connor Horn, 24th after running so well. Travis Beckner really never got a fair shot to rebound after getting locked a lap down early in this race. Dwayne Culberson we saw involved in that last lap crash. Cosmo Nishio in the 84 led so many laps this race, led the most laps, 31st place in this one. David Weishart, 35th, a night to forget for sure. Eric Wineland, wild race before we jump on to the interviews here post-race.
Yeah, that was incredible. I managed to get through each channel. I won't play the radio clips, but heartbreak for Jacob Bell, who thought he had the race won. The iRacing timing and scoring put Seth Noel ahead for his first Area 500. Hunter, I think you said something about the driver that's won the race has started near the front. Seth Noel inside row 3, E5, goes on to win.
I chose the wrong driver from the same row. Unreal.
Well, let's talk to our 3rd place finisher in this one. Greg Mitchell in the number 2 brings home the number 2 Ford Mustang in 3rd. Now, Greg, I know that's not exactly where you wanted to finish. You were up front and in contention there, but it just slipped away in the final moments. Take us through your race and that final restart.
Yeah, definitely bittersweet. We had a really good game plan. We didn't really have it worked out all the way through the race, just kind of how it played out. But we had me, Cam, and Dom all lined up, and we had a really good run. We tracked Jake down, and then we just screwed up. We were trying to get down to side draft a little, and we just broke loose. And so we were in good shape had that not happened. But coming to the last couple start finish, I had a pretty good run to get the lead, and then that caution came out. And then I know how fast Jake is, so I decided to start on the bottom line to get his push, and that out, which was kind of risky because the outside can get some good runs, but the outside, the low line. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Still a little amped up, I think. But the low line was running a little quicker on that first lap. It seemed like the good place to be. And then, and then I think you could draw a line across me, Jacob, and Seth going when that caution came out. So bittersweet for sure, but that was fun.
A fun one for sure, Greg. Hey, congratulations. The top 5 is not a bad way to start the season, so good luck to you next week, and certainly not a bad result despite leading some laps there late in the going. We'll see you next time.
All right, and thank you guys for doing the broadcast. You guys do a killer job. I'm so happy to have you guys on board for another season. And thank you to the teammates on Fazekas and NAI, Leo Bram and Magyar Bank, Eat Sleep Race, and Flash Picks for all being on our cars this season. We're excited.
Appreciate it, Greg. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Jacob Bell brings it home in second place. Thought you had it won, Jacob, and we thought you did too. As the caution came out, we were waiting for the yellow lights to illuminate. They did. You were ahead, but the scoring has you otherwise placed second. So I know it's a disappointing end, but where did you come from up there at the end? Take us through it.
Yeah, it was a really, really fun race from start to finish. I think it was probably the best Area 500 we had up until lap 101 when that final caution came out to end us under yellow. Really wish we could have ran that one to the end. I thought we were in a good spot. I thought we actually were in a good spot the entire race. I mean, this was probably, like I was saying, the most fun I've had racing this package with all these drivers. This league has grown so much, and I mean, we're talking some of the best on iRacing in this field. So to be able to stay top 15, top 20 for the entire day was, an accomplishment I was proud of. Misaligned the pit strategy with a couple guys we were trying to work with, but we were able to catch back up and make it work. But man, second place really, really sucks. It really does.
Well, it's definitely better than 32nd maybe, but perhaps feels the same. But Jacob, at the end there, we always know that in these late overtime moments that track position is so important. So is there anything in your mind that tells you to lift on these restarts? Because I think everyone else is just, as soon as they see smoke, it's flat foot into the floor because you got to get through it to make it back and steal a position away.
Yeah, I think you just race with your head. I don't think I've ever really been the type to just drive through somebody, even if it is for a win or for pushing there late at the end of these races. And I think everybody up front did a really good job of that, especially on those late restarts. We were working with my teammate Jordan Martin and Jake Nichols in the 73. We were trying to link up as much as we could there at the end and throughout the race, and it almost worked out. And it definitely sucks, man. I sacrificed a lot to get this league going, and to have you guys here broadcasting. You guys do an amazing job, and to have this league where it's at, it's definitely a big accomplishment. So I'm happy to be here, and I appreciate you guys broadcasting, and thank you to the sponsors.
Appreciate it, Jacob. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
And the winner of the 2023 Area 500, Seth Knoll, gets it done, wins the Area 500 in overtime. And just by the skinnier teeth there, the yellow flag came out. And where did he go? There he is. In just a moment's notice, yellow flag comes out, and Seth, you were leading this race. By how much, we don't know, but we know it was close. Side by side with Jacob and Greg, you win the 2023 Area 500. What are you feeling?
I don't know. I don't think it's quite hit me. Still a little shocked. I'm a little disappointed it didn't play out, because it's not always the best to win a caution race, but if it's going to happen, at least I finished first. At bat, I don't know.
Seem almost apprehensive about it, but I promise you did win. We did back and take a look, and it was so close that the 77 was ahead when the lights came on, but as we know, the scoring isn't quite the same. But take us through your race in general and kind of powering through the pack. It was busy out there today, lots of strategy, but not a lot of yellows to break things up.
Yeah, the race pretty much started out with me and Cosm and teammates just controlling the race, and then I got shuffled back because I messed up my pit stop, and then same thing, I got up to Cosm, we controlled the race until about 5 laps before the green flag pit stops. Then we kind of botched our pit stops and put ourselves back in the middle of the pack and couldn't really ever get back in control. And then the last caution ended up working out literally perfectly to me, where I was able to just leapfrog one row at a time, keeping the outside lane, and ended up being the second car on the top on the final restart, and then my contact with Brad that got him loose off 2 ended up benefiting me, and what would have ended up hurting me if it had stayed green.
Well, Seth, congratulations. You won the race. I'm sure it'll sink in a little bit later for you, but congratulations. Job well done. And we'll see you next week as an Area 500 winner and a playoff contender, so congratulations.
All right, appreciate it, boys. Shout out to Celsius. Won the car. Badass looking paint scheme. Can't lie. Look at that paint right there. Look at it. Beautiful. Appreciate the boys at Miller giving me some help all race, giving them the strategy help. And apologies to Brad again. I just misaligned off 2. It's just the way it goes, I guess. Appreciate it, boys.
Just the way it goes. There's the margin of victory. Seth, we'll see you next week. Thanks for chatting with us. Finian, that's what it looked like there at the end. Just feet. And it didn't take long before the 77 powered out ahead. If the caution came out a half a second later, things might be different. But what a way to end our Area 500 and kick off our season.
Yeah, really, what a fantastic way indeed. These guys gave it their all 100 laps. We saw a lot of comers, a lot of goers near the front. And if the season is anything like what we saw with this race, we're in for a treat in season number 4.
Hunter, what you got?
Well, looking back at it, great race overall. I can't lie, I am a little disappointed in the way that it played out, mostly because the last 3 cautions happened the exact same way, in the exact same spot too. But yeah, again, the photo finish, didn't expect it to turn out the way that it did. Very close at the end. And also looking back at the results, it looks like Dom DeLeo is going to be the winner for the hard charger, or the biggest mover of the race. Started 35th, finished 5th. It's up 30 spots, and tough there for Michael Sturgill, who started 38th, finished 9th, so 1 spot away from a tiebreaker there. Not sure how that would work out, but nonetheless, all it took was 2 laps for Seth Knoll, and he got the job done, and maybe a few inches from the front bumper. But really excited with how the rest of the season is going to play out as we go to Charlotte next week, so we're going to bring that same intensity a week from now.
And Eric Wineland, brief final thoughts here from Daytona.
And Kazumi Yonishiwu led the most laps. He led just about half the race, 51 laps. And so he'll pick up that $25 Amazon gift card courtesy of Elwood Design. Special shout out to them for all of our graphics and helping us out with some prizes. But yeah, off and running. Now the wild card's out of the way, Kyle. And now we get into the meat of the good tracks on the schedule. Charlotte up next, then Dover.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. America's home for racing next week. The World Center of Racing this week. By the way, Kazumi Yonishiwu led 51 laps. His 51st lap led was lap 54, and he didn't lead after that at all. So it was all first half dominated by that 84 car. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight, though. It was a blast. Thanks for being with us and debuting parts and pieces of the new broadcast package. But thanks so much here on SimTV. Make sure to subscribe if you have not. Make sure to follow twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And before you go, race fans, be sure to check out shop.areairacing.com for merchandise to represent your favorite drivers and teams. Shop from our brand new selections of champion t-shirts, jackets, hats, and more. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's the shop.area.com promise. We'll see you next week from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Thanks for watching.